Winter Market. I'm Justice Daniels, the Director of Marketing here at Grace Company.
And I'm Natalie Chipping. I do our social media.
We're so grateful to have you here today. It's a beautiful day up here in Utah. I know on my drive into work, I was seeing snow flurries, and I just love it because it looks like I'm driving through the stars. You know, it's just magical to me.
I love that. Yeah, it's starting to get snowy out here. I always play Christmas music the first time that it snows. So I have to wait until we get our first snow, and then I'm like, okay, it's time to go. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I want to know from everyone who's joining us, thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Kara. How early did everyone set up their Christmas tree? I know for me and my wife, we actually had ours set up before Thanksgiving even happened.
You're one of those.
Some small judgment on that, but it was so fun. I couldn't wait.
I love that. I still have not set mine up.
No?
I'm a slacker, I guess.
Do you have like specific decorations, or do you buy every year for that?
I think I just have specific ones. The same tree, the same little box that I bring out. So.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
I did put up the Grace Christmas tree over there,
nice.
So maybe
just
that
slightly
maybe
off
I got
camera.
my fill.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, Tammy. Tammy says I set up my tree tree day after Thanksgiving. I think that's the way to do it.
That's what most people do.
I just feel like there's not enough time with Christmas there, you know?
Oh, that's cute.
Not enough time.
You're just a Christmas lover.
Oh, I love it. I love giving gifts. I think that's my favorite part of the season.
I love
what
that.
gift is everyone looking to get under the tree this year? Maybe that's another question people have more thoughts on.
I know for me, my Christmas gift to myself is a trip to California. So I'm going out there.
That's awesome.
Not really under the tree, but.
Is it going to be warm in California this time of year?
I hope so.
Melody with 2 mini trees set up. I love that.
So cute.
One in every room you go to, just to stay excited and happy on it.
What do you want under the tree?
Oh, that's a great question. This year, I think I'm just looking to kind of do a similar thing. I want to do an experience. I really enjoy trying new places to eat. So there's a place up here in Salt Lake we've never been to.
Fun.
And I'm looking to go to that. So that'll be really, really cool.
Love that.
Roseanne Heller, thank you. We say, we don't set up the tree until the day after my husband's birthday. Well, when's your husband's birthday? That sounds like it's a fun thing to do, though.
As someone with I was born on December 23rd, so I appreciate separating the birthday and the holiday. That's a nice thought.
That's really cool. Carolyn, surprises from Grace Company that I've asked for.
Nice.
Oh, please share those surprises. We hope those dreams come true. And hopefully Winter Market will really help you get those gifts that you're wanting. I know, Natalie, if you want to introduce a little bit about the event.
Yes, yeah. So for those of you who have never attended Winter Market, we're going to have demos of lots of our favorite products, hopefully your next new favorite product. We're just here to teach you all about different products that we offer. We have some new ones as well that we want to kind of introduce you to. But that's not it. We also have some exciting stuff to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Grace. We have some interviews from people here that work with us, and then we also have some cool featurettes about our history. We're going to hear from some charity events and stuff like that. So it's going to be really, really fun, and we're so excited to get started and to have you here with us to do that.
Melody, I love sharing that True Cut is on your list, because safety during the holidays, especially when you're rapidly cutting and going into next year, a huge good thing for everyone. I wanted to share a little bit more about Winter Market and what's special about the 40th year of celebration. It's not just Grace being around for 40 years, which is super awesome, but it's the journey we've taken with all the quilters along the way. So as many of you have probably followed us along for many events and maybe even seen us decades ago, we're just so grateful and want to share a little bit about how special that journey has been to us. So, you know, we actually managed to somehow talk the owner of the company into sharing his story on what got this started and, you know, and some of the meaning behind it for us. So we're very grateful. And, you know, I just really want to stress from both of us, from all of Grace Company, this isn't possible without you. Both the art form and the beautiful love that quilting has, and, you know, being ready to cuddle up under a quilt this holiday season like I will be doing is like, oh, without people doing that and putting all that love in there, it's just such a special thing.
Yeah, we absolutely couldn't be here without all of you guys. So that's a big part of celebrating our 40th anniversary for sure.
Yeah. I love getting early Christmas gifts as well. Who was that? Greta got us a Cutie Breeze as an early Christmas gift. And hopefully you're giving some gifts with it already. That's very exciting. Very exciting. Well, with all this time of spending and shopping and being on the digital social platforms, engaging with all your favorite communities, I just want to remind you that, you know, there are scammers out there. Don't be overly worried, but be cautious, please. Grace Company, we try to do a lot to engage with our community. So if you get a message and it just seems too good to be true, or like, hey, maybe this is a way better deal than I could get, don't respond to that person who's saying that. Just message Grace Company directly or call in. We have staff on standby, both monitoring our digital platforms and on phones to answer any of those questions and get you connected to the right person. So, we want to make sure we're looking out for you and your family's safety financially and just, in all those ways. So make sure you're cautious as you go throughout that.
Yeah, especially with social media as well. We're never going to ask you for any personal information on social media, so just keep that in mind. Here's our social media channels. You should go follow us. We're either Grace Company or Grace Company Quilting on everything, and this is where you can engage with us. You can get all your Grace news. You can register for our events and our giveaways. This is where I am, so if you're commenting on one of these, it's probably going to be me that's answering back at you. And yeah, we're just posting a lot of fun, engaging stuff over there. We have questions every week. We have quilter features on Sunday, where you can submit a quilt to us to be featured. We have tips every week. We have project ideas, all of that kind of stuff. So we would love to see you over there. We also have our YouTube channel where we are posting 2 videos a week. They are product highlights, they're tutorials, they're fun little quilting series with projects and stuff like that. It's a really fun community where we're always learning, we're always trying new things. Plus, there's always access to free resources. Most of our videos have a free pattern or a free download or something like that from our awesome hosts, Jenna and Angelique, who have been quilting for so long and are so great at it. So if you ever are looking for project ideas or want to learn the next step in your quilting journey, that's a great place to do it. We also are going to have Winter Market ready to rewatch on our YouTube channel under the Lives tab. We have past events on there as well. So that's just a great place to stay up to date on everything that Grace Company is doing and has done.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love getting to be part of seeing all the content that goes out and all those messages. I love scrolling through our social media feed and seeing how people are like, positively impacting each other by giving tips. Sometimes we'll teach you about cutting or doing a certain pattern or design, and we'll have tons of comments about like, oh, I love doing it this way, and this is how it's really helped me. And so it's really cool to see that. And especially with a winter market like this, but as you're out there looking at like, what's my next step in my quilting journey, sometimes it's great to just go on there and see how are people using the products that help you, right? And so sometimes it's like, people will be like, oh, I got my question answered by watching them make that project, and I know now how the 16 works a little better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if the content doesn't answer your question, which hopefully it will, there's always conversations happening with quilters from all around the world helping each other out, which is super cool to see.
It's super special, and along the lines of helping each other out, we have an interactive Zoom twice a month that's called our Quilters Playground. It's hosted by Carla and our wonderful education staff, and it's a place for you to go online and learn something about products. Usually these are a little bit more specific to our products, but even if you don't own the product, the project and the answers might give you that information you need to know to either make that purchase or go finish that quilt you've been working on or have confidence in your process, and a lot of interactive engagement. So again, it is live, and you can ask your questions. Someone's waiting to respond in the comments, to talk through whatever that is with you and get support from other people. So I'm curious to know, has anyone actually engaged with us on our social media platform? How many of you are actually following? That would be really cool to see.
That's a good question, because we've been posting like crazy about our events. I'm curious how many of you saw that and jumped over here.
Yeah, and we're really excited that we get people coming back like that. And we really want to make Grace a place for the quilting community that they can just come and be happy and play around with us. Lots of great comments over here on people with their products and what they're getting and expanding. I know we got some people with gold cards and all over the place. So thank y'all so much for joining us, and as we get ready to move in and through this awesome event.
Some of you guys saying you're here from social media, I recognize your names.
Oh, that's
impressive. I'm like, oh, I remember
Active
some
engagers.
of these people.
That's
it's
way
awesome
cool.
to have you guys here. Thanks for coming.
Well, I was curious, do you know how often, I know you said some of the types of things we're posting, how often are we posting on social media? And how often are we posting on YouTube? And when can you expect to see that?
So YouTube, we have long form, long videos coming out with projects and tutorials and stuff like that. That's twice a week. We have shorts, just little, shorter videos with little tips and stuff like that, tips and tricks. Those are pretty much every weekday. And then on our social platforms like Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff like that, it's every day, including the weekend. So you should be hearing from us. You should get your quilt fix every single day. Mondays, we're hearing about a cool product. Tuesdays, we do our question of the week. Thursdays is a little tip or trick. Saturdays, I try to do a project idea.
That's awesome.
And then if you visit our link tree or any of our social media bios, you can find our link tree. That's where you can find the link to submit for Quilter feature, which is a new thing we're doing every Sunday, where we are featuring quilts from you guys. So if you send in a picture, we would love to have you guys on our social media as well.
And like Brenda just posted up there, you saw, don't forget to like and share this video even, and all of our other content to help your friends out there and those others who maybe haven't found Grace Company yet to find us, and to engage with you all as a community and to engage with us to make sure they're getting taken care of. And speaking of that, before we get into a big giveaway, our first giveaway of the day, I wanted to highlight, just a reminder, you can get our products through our vast dealer network. That's all around the nation, so you can be supported, or you can even go online. I know for the holidays, we have a special free shipping going on online right now, so if you're looking at anything, check that out. Or if you want to find a dealer, we have a dealer locator on our site, right? So there's a lot of partners around the US that carry all of our products. You'll be able to type in your geographical location and find that. And I think it's really important to note that in some of those specials, because as you go throughout today, you're gonna see a lot of demos on things. You're maybe, I imagine a lot of people are here trying to do that last minute holiday shopping. And even with the giveaway we're about to announce, if you're not the lucky winner, that's okay. We're all a winner because we got free shipping and we got these ways to support us in the holidays.
Big deals, the best deals of the year, as I like to say.
So maybe we could go ahead and show y'all what that giveaway is going to be today.
Very exciting. This is our brand new Hummingbird hoop that came out just a few months ago. It's really, really cool because it is for push quilting, but it kind of takes the strain out of push quilting. I actually am learning how to quilt now that I work here, and Angelique has been teaching me a little bit, and I got to try actual push quilting with pushing your quilt through the machine versus using the Hummingbird hoop. And the Hummingbird hoop is just so much easier to control where your quilt's going, to control what ends up happening on your quilt, but also, just on your shoulders and your arms and stuff like that. So I really liked it.
Yeah, I love the concept. I'm grateful I was able to be part of helping design this, because it gives a lot of those fundamentals of zone quilting that you get in these bigger frames, all in the space for you to use with your domestic machine, right? Or the Little Rebel even, if you have one of those. It helps you zone through there and keep your tension nice of your fabric and move through it. And today we're lucky to announce one special winner. So if you'll all join us in a little bit of a drum roll here, we're gonna announce that our winner is Eva Anderson. I apologize if I mispronounced that, but you're the lucky winner of our Hummingbird hoop frame, or our Hummingbird hoop, and we're very happy to be able to give that to you. You can go ahead and message us, and we'll have someone reach out to you, I believe both. If you don't hear from us, message our sales@graceframe.com. If not, Allegra@graceframe.com. Thank you. I was just a little hasty there.
She should be reaching out to you.
Okay.
If you don't hear,
then
you can go ahead and shoot her an email. But
awesome, and congratulations again. And if you have never heard of that product, I'd recommend after our live, if you don't get the content you want there, go online and see that. And we got some very special video segments coming up next.
In just half a minute, you're going to hear from Jim, who is the owner and founder of our company. Very exciting that we kind of roped him into doing this, and he was willing to give us a little interview. And we're excited to hear from him.
And then following his statements, we'll be presented by Anthony and Angelique, who will be talking about bundling up with machines and frames. And not a better time of year to take advantage of that than right now. We hope you have such a wonderful time today. Please see us at the Ending Live, where we'll be hosting again.
We'll see you then.
We'll see you.
In the early 1980s, Grace Bagley worked at a quilt shop. Then one day, her son Jim asked her if there was anything that he could build to help quilters. She recalled a handmade quilting frame from her childhood, and with only her memories, Jim set out to recreate that joy for others.
Our first product was a frame that you could put your domestic sewing machine on and roll it around, similar to the mini quilter that we have or the cutie. It's the same idea. You could put any machine on it. However, now we have some great machines that work even better than just a regular domestic machine.
As Quilters embraced his new frame, Jim took a bold step and brought it to the Houston International Quilt Festival, one of the largest quilting events in the country.
When I told my in-laws that I was going to do quilting frames, I said, well, we're going to go do this show in Houston. We went down there. I had my mom and my wife and our little daughter, Bonnie, who is an absolute baby, just not even 6 months old. And we get in the van and we put a bunch of quilting frames in there and take them down and had a 10 by 10 booth. And basically, yeah, it was scary. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done. And we sold enough quilting frames to keep going. We had one quilt that we hung up in the booth for decoration at that first show. And I stood there and talked, handing out the ugliest brochure you could ever imagine. I think it was brown, it was brown and black ink. And it, I think I even designed my own logo on the thing, you know, and it was like, it was pretty crude stuff, but it's what you do. So quilting shows never did get easy to do. Sometimes it was just me and my mother, and we did very well at some of those shows. She would write the orders, and I would sit and talk everybody's ear off.
Like many entrepreneurs, Jim faced highs and lows. Through determination, he grew Grace Company from his garage to a full manufacturing facility in China, making quilting tools more accessible than ever.
We went through many processes and many failures before we finally came out with our first machine. So eventually, it's just, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. And so I started my own little factory, and we started out with a sewing machine. It worked, it was okay, but it's nothing in quality. The quality we're doing now is like light years ahead. And our sewing machines are, they're as good as it gets, and they're only going to get better.
From the start, Jim's mission was simple: empower quilters, spark creativity, and help people enrich the lives of those they love.
I love the quilting industry. I love how colorful it is. You go to a quilt show, and it's the most colorful place you could ever imagine. They use fabric as their canvas. There's no limit to the creativity, to the beauty of it, and the wholesomeness of it. I see just a lot of really good people doing really good work. I'm lucky to have been able to be part of this industry for my whole career. Many years ago, I was at the Houston Quilt Market, and I was walking, looking at the quilts that were on display, and I saw some woman had made a quilt, and in her little bio on the bottom, she said, "I made this on a Grace frame." I thought, wow, you know, she actually said in her bio, nobody puts what frame they used, and that was kind of a cool thing to see.
What began as one man's idea in a garage has grown into a global company with more than 200 employees across the United States and China, shaping the future of quilting.
I've enjoyed the journey, and I can't say that it was easy, but there's been nothing like coming up with a good idea and being able to make it. And now I feel like almost anything we want to do, we can make it.
As Grace Company expanded, Jim brought together a team of people whose talents strengthened the company and helped fuel its innovation.
There's a lot of effort that takes place in this company. I found out what I'm good at, but also we hire people that are good at stuff. And we have an engineering team now that I think does some amazing stuff. That inspires me, that we have people that care. If they came here and acquired those skills and those insights, then Grace Company's done way more than just sell quilting frames. We've inspired people, and that's a wonderful thing.
Hi, Anthony. Hello, Angelique.
I'm so glad to be able to do this with you, talk about, quilting and frames, and hopefully help people figure out what they want to get themselves or a loved one for the holidays.
I'm so excited too. I love working with you guys because you guys have so much knowledge on the product, and it's so exciting to hear different perspective from different teams.
So we are starting with our 16 series. Right here we have the 16X Elite.
Yes.
This was the first one I got from us to kind of play with because I was a little intimidated. The larger, the 19, the 21, I was like, I don't know if I can handle all of that, right? As kind of a new quilter. And this one just felt small enough and intimate enough and friendly enough for me to kind of get started. So that's one of the things I really love about this.
Yeah, it is such a good starting point. I absolutely love that. Did you start with the X or the X Elite?
Well, I went with the Elite. I mean, they sold me on the screen. It has those extra features, like it helps me figure out how to prepare to quilt, how to do the maintenance, how to do troubleshooting. All of that's right here at my fingertips, So when I was first getting into it, this was something that was really going to kind of help me know what to do and not have to go find that manual, because then I have to store it somewhere and then I have to remember where I stored it.
You always put it in a safe place.
And I don't know about other people's quilting rooms, but let's just say I have to clean constantly.
I think a tornado went through mine, so let's not talk about that.
And one of the other things too that I really like about this one that is different from some of our other Elite machines is you have the ability to control not just the brightness in total, but the needle area brightness as well as the throat area brightness. And it's like, why would you want to do that? Well, when you're working on darker fabrics, like if you're working with something that has a lot of black or like a dark blue or something, a lot of light, sometimes it's harder to see what you're doing.
Yes.
You can't see those stitches. And so you can adjust that so you can get some shadowing to make those stitches, you can see what you're doing a little bit better. And which is weird. You would think, you always need more light.
You need more light.
But sometimes it can actually be the opposite. So I love the ability to be able to kind of control for those differences in the different areas, So yeah, it's just a great beginner-friendly machine. A little faster to thread.
Little faster than
Yeah, because you don't have the extra step there, but instructions are right there on how to do it. And I absolutely loved mine. I did eventually upgrade because but it was a really great place for me to start.
It is. And I also want to bring attention, with every machine purchase happening this month, you get a free light bar.
A free light bar?
Yeah, we just talked about how lighting is so important. So just reminded me, free light bar.
Free light bar. And I know that our light bars are just amazing. The time, the engineering went into getting the wattage right. They're cool to the touch.
Yeah, no
so
heat
the
coming
last
off
thing you
those.
want is like it to get hotter and hotter when you're working, right? I have one. I have the original 5 foot that came with my frame. And even if I'm not working at my frame, I have that on because it lights up my whole room. It makes it easier. I'm at the ironing station. It's behind me, and it still makes it so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, totally.
Yours?
Completely.
You got the 5 foot.
Mine came with a free 5 foot frame when I got,
Well, if you get this frame here, you're going to get the 5 foot as well. And I absolutely love this frame.
I love this frame too. This is just it's the fun size. Let's call myself fun size. You can actually sit and quilt on this frame. I love that about this. You can have the wheels like we have, so you could make it kind of portable. It's very sturdy. It is a hoop frame.
It is.
So you are going to be doing zone quilting, which is just a great way to be able to do any size quilts.
Yes, I love that about our Q-Zone hoop. It can tackle anything from a table runner to baby quilts to honestly California King. Throw it on there.
Oh, absolutely. It's just however big your quilt is, that's the more zones that you have. And that's how I learned. I learned on a zone type hoop frame. It gives you kind of the freedom to start where you want to start as well. And I love that. We have these great clamps for it. We have the elastics. They just kind of help manage your fabric. It's really a great, easy frame to use. Has all the bells and whistles in a small little space.
Yeah, it fits pretty much anywhere you need it. Takes up about 54 inches for that hoop. And so if you don't have room for the 8, 10, 12 foots, this is a great option to still be able to do any size you want with still maintaining the space limitations you have, because I have space limitations.
Right. Well, now that we've talked about our Q-Zone hoop, why don't we talk about the next in our Q-Zone series?
I can't wait.
All right. Well, we took a look at the Q-Zone hoop. Now let's talk about the Q-Zone queen, the next one.
Okay, so another Q-Zone hoop. We absolutely love this one because this is not the hoop frame, but the rolling rail.
Two rail rolling.
Yes.
Right, ratcheting system.
It's a nice floating system here, and it is a really nice frame because you're getting in at a good solid 8 foot or even a 10 foot. We now have a pro upgrade, as you can see in this middle leg here. That's our pro upgrade, making it a 10 foot frame. So you have the options of an 8 or 10 foot frame that can fit our 16s and our 19s on there.
Right, so 19 is the largest throat space you can have, which is one of our most popular machines is the 19.
It is. Back to the frame, because I absolutely love this one. It is a nice ratcheting system, and we also have the Fast
Yeah,
on
so
here.
this is really neat because instead of like using Velcro or something like that, you can just tuck in your extra fabric or your leader, and then you just press this in. It's got the little roller. I just think it's really fun to kind of like a little racetrack, roll that down in there, and then you're ready to just ratchet on that thing. It's a really neat system because it is really fast.
I will say, you see these nice table inserts here. On the original frame, it doesn't come with the table inserts, but if you do get the Pro upgrade, it comes with cloth leaders and table inserts. So it's always kind of nice. If you're thinking about a 10-foot frame, you have the budget for the Q-Zone Queen, go for that Pro upgrade. You're getting extra accessories and thicker rails on there as well.
I like this one because it's a little bit shorter.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you are on the tinier side like myself, the lowest setting on this is you could technically sit just like the hoop frame.
Yes.
So that's what's except for, you got a lot of, you'd have to have a rolly chair, but I mean, if you do, you do have that a single rail system just like the hoop frame. Let's talk a little bit about the 19. This is actually my favorite machine, and
really?
mainly because it's lightweight.
It is.
Yeah.
It is our lightest machine, which I absolutely love. And I love the design of the machine in general. I think it just looks nice and sleek.
I do.
And I think my favorite design feature is honestly this pad printing here on the side.
Oh, yes.
You look on the side, it gives you all your threading instructions, which I love. We saw that on the 16, but I'm just bringing it to light here. It's got all your threading instructions.
In case you forget, makes it really easy.
Yes, and it also does it for the bobbin winder as well, which I absolutely love. That our machines have bobbin winders on them too.
Yes, all of our machines have bobbin winders, which is something you won't find with other quilt machines, so that's really nice. It also has this little dust cover for your bobbin area, just to kind of help keep the extra dust and stuff away, so that's kind of nice as well. But it is removable if you don't want to use that. So it's just, I like the speed on this, I like the features that are on it. Again, big thing for me is it's lightweight. I don't need any help moving it on and off the frame. So when I do want to upgrade maybe to automation or something, it's easy for me to do it. I don't have to call my husband to try to help me with that. Yeah, so this is just a really nice setup. Again, comes with the light bar.
Can't live without the light bar.
Yeah. And you kind of get the best worlds here in the fact that, it's faster because you can float, but you can still get that tightness of your backing on here with the ratcheting system. So it's not as intimidating maybe as a larger frame can be, so, and I can't wait for you to show us, like, of course, the Mac Daddy of all, but this is just a really nice way in when you want a little bit more, but it's a good bang for your buck as well. So you kind of still get that. I know it's extremely popular.
It is. And it is a very fast machine too. We have our 19X and our 19X Elite. The X itself, 2,000 stitches per minute, which is crazy fast. This one gets up to 2,600 stitches per minute, which you might hear again in just a moment.
Yeah, and the nice thing too, when you go with the Elites, you get the larger screen, and you get a few extra features. One of my favorites, of course, is like the edge warning system and the bobbin winder, or not the bobbin winder, but the bobbin estimator.
Yes.
It's just nice to kind of like, oh, I'm getting close to needing to do a change. That's really nice on there as well. Plus, the manuals are right here on the machine, so that is,
it's so
super
convenient,
fun.
nice and easy to use. Everybody knows how to use a touchscreen. everyone's favorite thing.
Yeah.
And you're gonna love the 19X Elite.
Because you're getting a lot of throat space. You're
are.
getting a lot of throat space. Because it's lighter weight, it's easier to move around as well. So
It glides so nicely.
It does. It glides. You know, you're not dealing with that excess weight that you can get. And again, if you quilt a long time, if you're like I'm quilting for hours and hours and hours, you can really tire out, and the weight of this really kind of helps with that. So
it is.
All
Now,
right.
I think I'm ready to talk about my favorites.
All right, let's move on to that then. All right, Anthony, it's last but definitely not least.
Oh no, it never is least when it comes to our Elite setup.
Our Elite setup. So we have the 21X Elite, the new one, and of course our Evolution Elite rolling frame. Love this setup. Tell us about it.
Oh, I love this setup. It's probably one of my favorite ones. And I know everybody's like, it's the biggest and the best. That's what I always call it because it is the biggest and the best. She did bring up, we have just changed out for our new 21X Elite. This is a little bit of a newer version.
It's kind of an upgrade to
Yes.
the original one, right?
And it is definitely an upgrade. When it is going, when it's on, it is quieter than the original.
Which is so nice.
So nice. And not that the original was loud by any means, but it's so quiet.
It
you
just
can barely
keeps
hear
you
it.
in the zone, right? You're
does.
you're not hearing the machine. You're just doing what you want to do, instead of like, oh, here's my machine and it's stitching. You can just stay in that zone, and I love that feature.
Yes, and as you saw on our earlier machines, on the handles here, we did have black rubber buttons to push for your start-stop, changing your stitches per inch. These ones have nice new plastic buttons on here, nice white sleek, easy to push.
Really comfortable to hold. That was one of the things that I noticed. And the engineers, let me tell you, they came around with lots of different models of the handles. So they did spend some time asking us, like, how does it feel? What do you like? What don't you like about the different iterations of this? The placement of the buttons, everything. They really kind of thought about it. And these are just very responsive buttons. It doesn't matter where you push. It's going to do what you want to do. And I love that. It was one of the things I really noticed. I love how comfortable they are. They've got
Yes.
a little squeeze to
Just
them.
a little bit.
So, which of course you don't have to, do the death grip or anything, but if you do, it has that little bit of give, right?
Yes.
And so you feel that your hands aren't going to get as tired when you're quilting because you do have that nice little spring to them. So, and they just feel so nice.
They really do. And we did upgrade the handles, but we didn't change my favorite part of the handles. You can adjust them, pull them closer,
I
pull them
can't.
further out. Turn
I
them
got
whatever
it.
feels right.
Yeah,
So
they
you
still telescope, which is really nice. So you get that extra, because you do have this longer throat space.
Yes.
So if you're, short like me, I got to have it out here so that I can really, reach to the back and the front of the machine. So, however you find it comfortable, it definitely adjusts to you. What are some of the other new things that have happened with this?
So we do have nice throat lights in here. We got bobbin lights,
Yeah,
needle
so the bobbin
lights.
light is new, right?
Yes.
So you can see really well when you're changing your bobbin and when you're cleaning.
And it's so much nicer to have all the lighting on your machine. So much nicer to see all that.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
there.
because you've got your light right here, so you can see when you're threading. It also comes with our
Your Magnifique.
Magnifique, so you can see. It comes with the 3 different sizes. It's 2, 3.5, and 5, I
Yes.
believe, depending on how blind you are. I've moved to the 3.5, so but it just makes it a lot easier for threading and cleaning. Hooks right to the machine there, so you don't have to worry about taking that off. I understand too they've updated the hook assembly.
They have.
And that's part of what makes it quieter, right?
Yes, the hook assembly, it's going to be just a little bit smoother, run a little nicer. Not anything to worry about there. They've really gone in and kind of found every key detail that they could change to make the quilting experience so much easier for
Nice.
everybody involved.
And my understanding is the maintenance is a little bit lower. You don't have to oil every single bobbin change, so that's
Do
good.
not. The maintenance instructions will be still on your screen here, like we talked about. They will also be in your manual, but it is a very self-reliant machine. They're made to maintain yourself, so you don't have to send them in for yearly servicing or everything, because it sucks to take this thing off the frame and
Yeah, it
box
is
up and
definitely,
ship it
it's
in.
industrial, it's like our professional model. So tell us about the casing.
Oh, full metal cast on the body here. It is our heaviest machine because of that. Our other two, you could see they were plastic. Not that they're not as strong, but the full metal is just so nice to have.
And it's just so sleek looking.
It does.
Yes.
It keeps everything in there. And a nice thing internally is that everything's blocked off from having, you know, fluff sucked up in there by metal plating. So you do have a little protection inside, but this one also gives you that nice protection outside.
So we've been talking about the 16, we've been talking about the 19. What makes this one a little bit different in terms of like speed? You know, why is this like the elite of the elites?
So I like to call this one a little bit of our diva machine.
Okay.
It is the largest
The
one we
diva.
have. 21 inches, heaviest machine, heavy
Look at
duty, even
that.
though it doesn't look super industrial.
I mean, we come almost all the way out
We
to
do.
the edge of the frame here, yeah.
It's got that nice 21-inch throat space, which is so valuable for quilting room. I need all the space I can get. I had 19, I was like, I don't know if I need all this room. I needed the 21. I still do.
You get spoiled, let
You
me tell
do.
you.
It does go fast, very fast, 2,600 stitches per minute.
All right.
That is a huge
Not that you have
speed.
to go that fast,
No.
but it's just got a really powerful motor, so
It
it's going to
is.
stitch for a long time.
Yes, even on the stitch regulated modes, it's going to keep up with you. Manual mode, you're going to keep up with it.
Right.
It is sitting on our Evolution Elite frame. Our Evolution frame is actually the only one that the 21's compatible with. That's why I call it a little bit of a diva. It's got to have its
'Cause
own
I have
separate
to have
frame.
my own, and the hoop version as well. Of
Yes,
the
as
Evolution.
long as it says Evolution, you're in business to get the 21 with it.
So let's talk a little bit about the frame.
Yes.
What is great about going for the full Evolution Elite frame?
So the full Evolution Elite frame is probably my favorite because it can be coming in an 8, 10, or 12 foot size. Those prices don't change. So if you get the 8 foot or the 12 foot, whatever you're paying for this bundle, you can choose your size without worrying about a budget.
Right.
The nice things about this,
3 rails.
3 rails.
So you have your ratcheting take-up rail with the nice handle.
Yes, hand wheel makes it nice and easy to
Right,
crank
right.
up. And it's got nice metal ratchets in there. Those are not gonna wear it on you. We've had a lot of plastic ratchets, you know, we get the calls, they're worn out, it finally, something snapped on there. These metal ones are not gonna do that on you, which I absolutely love. We also have this front rail, which I love. It's a star design.
It's our backing rail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice star pattern on there, a little bit stronger, and it holds the clips in so nicely.
Mm-hmm. And so you put your backing on first. You can float, which is nice
can.
about this if you're working on something fast, but if you really want like the best, like flat, greatest tension on your quilt top, you're gonna use this bottom rail too. And so
Yes.
this is for the top, right?
Yes.
So, and this is gonna give you all those smooth layers, and that's one of the things I really like about it. Does take me a little bit more time to set it up initially, but it just, especially if I'm doing, like automation, it's just one less problem that I have.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we did talk about there is 3 rails. You can add more.
Mm-hmm.
Idler and a batting rail can be added on here at any time. The idler and batting rail are actually the same when you order them. We call it our accessory rail for this frame. So you can get them, have the hardware for both. If you decide, I really want this batting rail, but suddenly you want to try the idler rail, you can flip it up here, try it out. Maybe you'll buy both down the line.
Yeah.
I like having both.
And the idler rail just keeps you from having to move this up and down as you make your
It's so
quilt
nice to
sandwich.
have
So
the
that's
idler
really nice.
rail.
It keeps it at that perfect level.
I honestly recommend it for every frame purchase.
Yep. I don't know which one to get. I mean, they all have such great options and features. It's really about space. Tell us about the specials one last time.
Okay, so we all know you're getting this beautiful light bar with the purchase of a machine. It is based on the size of your frame, and we are doing 15% off our website.
Wow.
That's crazy.
15% off most everything on the website.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so check out those deals.
And check out your perfect machine and frame combo.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Quilting isn't only a form of expression or a way to spread joy to loved ones. It also has a long and impressive history, dating back to at least 3400 BC. A carved ivory figure was discovered from that period, depicting an Egyptian pharaoh wearing what appears to be a quilted mantle. From ancient civilizations to medieval times and all throughout history, people have used quilting to give comfort, tell stories, record their history, and connect with others. The story of quilting in America begins in the humble homes of settlers who migrated from European countries. These pioneers sought better lives for themselves in the New World, and they brought their quilting traditions with them. At this time, quilts were less about aesthetics and more about utility. They were made from primarily linen and wool, along with whatever limited resources were available, and used to keep warm in the harsh winters of the American frontier. Back then, quilts were made much thicker to protect people from inclement weather. From deteriorating or outgrown clothing to even old quilts, every thread had to be used wisely, and every finished quilt was a cherished means of survival.
Scrapped quilts are perhaps the most beloved quilts. The patchwork quilt was created out of need, the need for women to keep their families warm. They were made by a generation of quilters who spread out over the prairies after the Civil War. Times were tough everywhere, but the West offered new beginnings and opportunities for all. The railroads moved both people and goods, encouraging settlers with news from home and bits of calico and thread. Traditions remembered. 2020 American Patchwork and Quilting.
For the average colonial woman, quilting wasn't merely a domestic hobby. It was a meaningful way to help her family survive. Each evening, after the day's chores, she would gather her children near the fire and stitch by hand, careful and deliberate. Her quilts told the story of her family's life, a patch of her husband's old coat, a piece from her daughter's first dress, or bits of linen traded from neighbors. Materials weren't readily available, so these scraps of fabric were all repurposed into something new. Every patch held a memory that would breathe new life into old fabrics. Over time, quilters began to see more of the artistry in their stitchwork. Early American homesteaders began exploring their creativity using simple geometric shapes. 9-patch and pinwheel blocks allowed quilts to be made quickly and used up every scrap of fabric available. Quilts started becoming more than just utilitarian objects, serving as window and door coverings, room dividers, and wall decorations. The log cabin block was popular as it symbolized home and safety, with its light and dark diagonal color scheme symbolizing the sun traveling from east to west. Star blocks were also very common, as they represented the use of stars as navigational signs toward a new home. The 8-pointed star in particular let women show off their stitching skills due to the intricacy, precision, and time it required. Traditionally pieced block patterns like these are still used today, but with modern fabric and prints, keeping a link to the past while moving quilting into the future. Before the age of sewing machines, every stitch was made by hand, and while that meant long hours of work, it also created something else: community. Quilting became a crucial part of American society.
I have found nothing so desirable for summer covers as the old-fashioned scrap quilt of which our mothers were so proud. Every girl should piece at least one to carry away to her husband's house, and if her lot happens to be cast among strangers, the quilt, when she unfolds it, will seem like a face of a familiar friend, bringing up a host of memories too sacred to intrude upon. Annie Curd, Good Housekeeping, 1888.
The quilting bee became a tradition for girls about to get married, with the goal of stitching an entire quilt in one day. In candlelit parlors and drafty barns, women gathered to help one another finish quilts while sharing conversation, laughter, and support. In these gatherings, friendships were stitched together just like pieces of fabric. As America grew, quilting took on even more meaning. Cotton was becoming a Southern staple, which meant it was becoming a more common material for American quilters. Quilts became tokens of love, symbols of hope, and precious heirlooms. Mothers taught their daughters basic stitches, and they taught their daughters in turn. Patterns and stories were passed down through time, each generation adding their own colors, fabrics, and voices. These heirloom quilts are more than fabric. They are living records. Each one is a tapestry of American life, demonstrating resourcefulness during hardship, strength and togetherness, and ingenuity even in scarcity. The 19th century heralded new types of quilts and a new era of innovation. One popular style of this period was the friendship quilt, known for its floral imagery and its creator's signature stitched into every block.
The 1840s changed the quilting landscape forever with the introduction of the sewing machine, making sewing and quilting easier than ever before. The quilting market exploded, and publications ran weekly columns with design inspiration for quilters. Quilting also played a significant role in the Civil War. Women would make quilts to raise funds for the war effort and to support the abolitionist movement. Quilts provided warmth and comfort to the soldiers, and folk history suggests that people hung quilts to guide enslaved people towards safety. Certain quilt blocks were believed to be used as codes, like the sawtooth star communicating to travel north, the broken dish indicating a landmark on the trail, and the log cabin block signaling a safe place to rest. The 1970s saw a resurgence of interest in quilting, and this time is often referred to as a quilting revival. Quilting magazines became very popular, classes and associations proliferated, and quilting decor and clothing were in fashion. This could be attributed to the culture of the 1960s, where most women were housewives looking for interesting hobbies to occupy their free time. All of this led to a surge in quilting media, increased quilting presence in TV shows, and new ways to teach the craft. Today, centuries after American settlers finished their first patchwork quilts, quilting remains one of the most beloved art forms in America. It connects us to our past and to one another, a reminder that something humble can become something extraordinary through dedication, creativity, and community. At Grace Company, we're proud to help carry this tradition forward. We strive to honor all the quilting pioneers who came before us and paved the way for this wonderful craft to thrive. By creating tools that make quilting more accessible, we hope to not only preserve that legacy, but to continue introducing future generations to the wide world of quilting. Grace Company has always searched for ways to make a quilter's life easier. During that pursuit, they recognized a challenge nearly every quilter faced: achieving clean, straight, and accurate cuts. From that problem, TrueCut was born.
When I joined the company, Grace Company was hand quilting. Grace Company was woodworking. By 2008, we had been in the machine quilting arena for 7 years. That had opened our eyes to a new segment of the market, rotary cutting. We hadn't paid much attention to in the early years, and so as Jim started thinking about that and seeing what was available on the market, he said, there's room for improvement with this, and so why don't we come out with some rotary cutters that solve some problems? And that's what he always does, right? He tries to go in and solve pain points, and so he designed a cutter that could follow along a track on a specially designed ruler and came up with a new rotary cutting system that would make a quilter more accurate as they cut, safer certainly, so that they're not accidentally cutting over their hand or anything, and just a simpler, easier way to cut your fabric.
TrueCut changed the world of fabric cutting. With its raised edge ruler and a cutter designed to glide securely along it, quilters experienced precision like never before.
Before then, you just had your simple rotary cutters, rulers, there's a bunch of them. But we were the first to come out with an injection molded ruler. So A, that was made out of a plastic that doesn't chip like acrylic. And B, it was able to be designed because of that with a raised lip on the edge that then the corresponding guide on the cutter could slip over and track along as you cut. And it was really revolutionary. We were like, how did nobody think of doing something that eases the stress on the wrist? Like everybody just had this one shape of a rotary cutter.
As the impact of TrueCut grew, Jim saw another need waiting to be solved. Quilters needed a rotary cutter that eased the strain on their hands, wrists, and shoulders. It became another opportunity to innovate.
A couple of years after getting into rotary cutting, Jim was like, well, let's solve that problem. Let's make it easier on the wrist. And so, yeah, we came out with the My Comfort cutter that made it so that you could put much less pressure. And so it was one of those products that just really sold with almost no effort because people saw immediately the benefit. And that's the pattern Grace Company's been in, is tweaking this or adding this feature. Making it quick release, adding a magnetized feature to it. All those things came over time, and it's also listening to customers at trade shows as well. Definitely it's a team effort, and it's a powerful part of what makes Grace Company who we are.
Hello and welcome to Winter Market. I am Jenna.
And I'm Jarek.
And we're here talking about
our favorite product that we have,
Seriously,
which is
like,
True Cut.
It is like seriously my favorite product. Like,
Yeah.
don't tell the other products, but I think I like it probably one of the best.
No, that's okay. That's why we just keep it here in the
Yeah,
studio.
we're keeping
None
it
of
here in
the
the
other
studio.
products will tell.
The person that's recording this and all the people that are watching, just don't tell anyone that it's the best product because
Right?
it might be controversial. I don't know.
I think it will be,
But
but that's
probably
okay.
not because it is pretty good. So
Yeah. So I first started working here a year and a half ago. When did you start working here?
like 6 years ago. It's
Oh
been a
my
long
gosh,
time.
you've been here
Yeah,
a
it's been
long time.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for this winter market, our theme is getting to know the 40 years of Grace.
Wow.
Grace is 40, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Okay, before we get into True Cut, tell me your
Okay.
favorite memory, Grace memory over the last
Oh,
6 years.
The favorite Grace memory over the past 6 years? I don't know. Okay, I have a love-hate relationship with going to Houston, so I think those are some of my favorite memories, but also it's really long hours. So
Yeah.
I say, I don't know if I have like a specific one, but yeah, like, and I went to, before I was in sales, which I'm in now, I used to work to fix sewing machines, and I even went to help sell True Cut, and that was the first thing I was selling.
Mm-hmm.
And I love True Cut because it literally like sells itself, because it just solves problems.
It really does.
It's always like a nice time
Yeah.
when I can show people True Cut because I just love it. So
For the last 2 years, I've been in the True Cut booth at Houston. If you don't know, it's the Houston International Quilt Festival. If you haven't gone, y'all should go. And when I started working here, I got to know our ergonomic cutter, and I had no clue there was something like this on the market, and it is my favorite yet. So I actually, even though I don't look it, I know I have arthritis, and it's in my wrists and my fingers and my knees, and it's annoying because my two favorite hobbies are quilting and baking,
That's
which
really
all have a lot of
inconvenient.
wrist work involved, which is really annoying. But I discovered this guy when working here, and anytime I use it, it keeps my wrist straight. It puts the pressure on the top of your hand rather than your wrist and your fingers. And I can go and I can cut for longer without my joints hurting, which is such a blessing because I make way too many quilts for my own good.
yeah, and Jenna, you're awesome because you're actually a quilter, and I'm not really like actually a quilter. Like I've done a few
You've done
things. I
enough,
quilted
though.
some tops,
Yeah.
but I just always reference what I hear from other quilters and people that I sell to because like I'm like, is this good or not? Like, I don't know. I'm not the one that's using it. So I
Yeah.
listen to people that use it and they always love it. And when they use it, they're just like, whoa, they're like, this is a little bit weird. But then I hear when they come back the next year, they're like, I don't use any other one.
Right?
So it's always like, yeah, that is a little bit weird of a shape. But once you get used to it, it's like, it's so much better.
It's so nice. So what you do is you throw your finger over the edge, and it does get some getting used to, but I like to say, like, put the pad of your finger right here, right on top of that ribbed part up top, and it just keeps your wrist straight. And it's so nice. And I love that we have it in the 28 millimeter, 45 millimeter, and 60 millimeter, guys. When do you like to use a 28 millimeter? I'm quizzing you,
Paper.
non-quilter.
Paper.
Paper works great. Another one.
That's all I got.
Curves. Curves.
Oh yeah, I mean, these all have really good control.
They really do, though. Actually, because when doing curves, I like to use a 28 millimeter straight cutter, and so I started using my 28 millimeter comfort cutter. But it was actually one time I was watching you do a demo where you were showing
Yeah.
like
I was about to show
you
that.
can do
Here,
your
look,
thing,
let me
yeah,
show
do
it,
your
yeah.
thing, because this is
So-
how I learned that.
Yeah.
Go.
So you can go, look, you can bend it and twist it really easily because your wrist is like right over it versus like one of these, right? It's just like, it's not the same. Like you can't really, I mean, you kind of can, but like you can see it's a little bit awkward on your wrist.
Yeah.
And like the way that you have to like hold your hand up like this and just like bend your wrist. I don't have arthritis, but I do have like some carpal tunnel. So
Yeah.
using stuff for too long, like that definitely will start to make my wrists feel sore. And I don't think they would appreciate like being like this all the time. And plus
Yeah.
you're like white knuckling your finger, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the way that you can just direct that, your hand's like right over it. It's just like super easy.
When
Is
I
that what you're
first
talking
started,
about, right?
yes, when I first started working here, I saw you do a demo like that, and I thought, whoa, I didn't even think about that, because truly, you have to learn how to use this. I probably have like 12 different rotary cutters of all different brands at home. Since getting my comfort cutter, I use this one 99% of the time. I love my comfort cutter, and what I think is cool about our comfort cutter is it comes with two attachments. It comes with this attachment that works with all rulers you already have at home, and then this attachment that works with our rulers and Jarek, what's so special about Grace Company rulers?
Well, it's got a guide, which is pretty dang nifty. So if you see right here, people always walk up and they're like, Jarek, why does this have holes in it? I'm like, I'll get to the holes. We'll get to the holes. But I'm like, go ahead and like feel that ridge right here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we just feel the
So we
ridge
got our
on the
little
edge
ridge.
right here.
Here, I'm gonna grab another ruler to do it with.
If you can see from above a little bit, it's kind of hard to see to get a good angle, but it's got like this little ridge on there. And that is for this to go onto. So it's like a track system. That this goes on there and it rides that, kind of like a little train. Because we've all done it. Like, I'm not even that much of a quilter, but I have done, you know, you just kind of, you go in and then you like ruin that section of fabric. Like, how many times have you done that before you use this?
Oh, let me just tell you that I actually, like 2.5 years ago, cut the tip of my finger off. I'm a silly goose. I have lots of energy. I was at my friend's house. We were watching some movie musical.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
And I went to cut something and I wasn't really paying attention. And I went on top of my ruler and sliced my finger off. And my response was just to laugh the
on
entire
there.
time. Yes, the doctor said it would grow back and I had no clue. If you're a quilter, in the comments, tell Jarek that your finger grew back and your doctor said it would grow back, and it did.
Well, if you want to not cut it off again, you want to avoid cutting your finger off, that's also what it's good for.
Yes,
So.
100%. Since using this guy, it just, wait, I look like the 45, can I borrow this from you? Thanks. It just hooks right on the edge. It's not going anywhere, and my favorite is doing those really long cuts where I can go all the way down, and I got my perfect cut. So the combination of the comfort cutter with our track and guide system with our rulers, I feel like is magical.
Yeah, and I've heard, like, you know, it's one of those things too. It's like, well, now I have to go get all these new rulers, and I'm just like, you don't even need to, because like you were saying, it comes with both of them. But eventually, a lot of people do end up switching, and that's because like that's the only one that they use. You try all the different ones because you're looking for something that works good, and you're hoping. I mean, there's just not a lot of ergonomic one out there. But this one, your hand's like right over it. So yeah, and then the combo, it's hard to beat. And you said earlier that your favorite one's this one.
Yes, so whenever somebody is interested in our cutting system, I always like to recommend to get your favorite rulers, because replacing them all at once, super expensive. But if you start with your favorites, and mine tends to be the 24.5 by 6.5, and then I also love this 12.5-inch square ruler. So if it was me buying it, I would get this guy, and my 12.5-inch square.
And we do have a combo for that. So we are also doing specials that you can find on our website.
Jarek, don't twist my leg.
I know, I'm gonna twist your leg about this.
Okay.
Like, you need to get another one.
No, not that I need to get another one, but I need to get some for my friends and my family members who I have been trying to get into quilting the last couple years, and they're all starting to crawl and they
They're
need
thinking
these.
about it. Yeah, you're gonna get them. Yeah, you're gonna get them started with this if they get this. They're gonna be like,
Yes, I
I need
think
to
getting started with the Quilters combo is my favorite. So it's this guy,
and the True Grips,
and True
which we
Grips.
haven't talked about yet. And I feel like a lot
We got
of people.
True Grips.
Well, you know what I figured out? So back in the day, like 6 years ago, oh my gosh, so long ago, like people were like, what's True Cut? And like no one had any idea what True Cut is. And I'm still surprised that a lot of people don't know what it is. So I love showing them that. But everyone knows what the True Grips are. So that's these little like grippies on the back of here. And they make it so your ruler doesn't slide around. And if your fabric's like on there, you know, it like sticks to it. So I use these actually for so many things besides rulers.
Yeah.
Like anything I don't want to slide, like I put it on the bottom of like a couple different things just to keep it from sliding. So.
And for reference, this is our triangle ruler. It has absolutely no True Grips on the back. It slides like crazy. I put it on top of fabric, and it's not gripping that fabric at all. Like, it slides.
Yeah, you can see this is gonna like move the mat, and we do have another thing that is a non-slip pad for the mat, which we don't have out right now, but you can see it's like so grippy, it's gonna like move the mat and your fabric like way before anything else is
Maybe
gonna
I need
slide.
to get this non-slip pad, and if you see how it's marked, there's cutting marks on it. So if you have smaller mats, we have, what sizes we have? We have
36 by 24, 18 by 24.
Yes,
and I
and
feel
then-
like I don't know, there's one
Is
more.
it 12 and, is it 12,
12 by 18.
24? 12 by 18?
12 by 18.
Yeah, so we got a small,
know our
medium,
stuff.
large. And so this guy, you can cut for all of your mats. Should we put this guy under here? Oh, are we gonna do it? Okay, on your mark, get set, go. We're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it. None of y'all saw that, right?
That was kind of chaotic, but now you can see like this doesn't move around anymore, especially compared to what it
But
was
our,
like.
everything on our table will.
So now you can see that's a really good combo. You know, nothing's moving. unless you really try, but that's on there.
I absolutely love True Grips. I feel like I put them on the bottom of like chairs to make them so they're not slipping around.
I was trying to remember what I put on the bottom. There was like a cabinet I put it on.
Yes,
so
a
it didn't slide
cabinet
around.
that also, like when the cabinet slams shut, I'll put it on so then it's not as hard when it shuts.
So
just a bunch of randomness.
I mean, True Grips are really awesome for rulers and also other things. Maybe you've already seen them before, but we're the same people that make True Grips. So there you go. And okay, moving on to the next thing that we disagree on which one's better. That's something that we both love.
I'm team linear sharpener.
And I'm team electric sharpener because you just have to hold down a button, but the linear sharpener one's pretty good too. So this is a sharpener for your blades, and blades are really expensive. So with this one, you reuse it. I mean, people ask me, how many times can you redo it, Jarek? And I always tell them, well, at least you can resharpen it at least once, which saves you 50%, if not like 3 or 4 other times.
Yeah.
So I mean, only if you could resharpen it once, right? I mean, you're still saving half on your blades.
And I have been told, and I've sharpened enough blades where I agree with this statement too, is you can sharpen until that beveled factory edge is gone. And then once that factory edge is gone, then you have to replace your blade. But how does the electric sharpener work?
So the electric sharpener works, and let me show you this. We do have linear rotary blade cutters as well, and what's cool about these ones versus other ones is it's a quick release. So you can see how easy I just pulled that out of there. So this has little ridges along here. There is multiple different sizes. So there's the 28, the 45, and the 60. So you can fit any of these, and it just has to have the factory or the industry standard type of blade, which has these 3 rings on there. So as long as it's got those like 3 little notches that you can see in the center of here, it will work on this. So you just nestle it in there, and you make sure it's locked down, and then you push this down, and you don't want to lock. There's like this little thing in the front. That's only for traveling. So you don't actually put that down. You just hold this on there, and then you push the button down for like 15, 30 seconds, and then you're going to want to do this and flip it. It does have diamond grit stone blades on both sides, which, by the way, I was like, they told me that the diamond grit blades stones would like last forever, and I was like a little bit skeptical, to be honest. I was like, really? Like, are we just telling people that, or is that like true? But then I was at a show and I talked to this guy. He's like, what kind of stones are those? He's a knife sharpening guy, and I was like, those are diamond grit. He's like, okay, so they'll last forever. And I was like, okay. From the authority of a blade sharpening guy who knew his stuff, they're gonna last. And I was like, okay. So now I always tell people that. So they'll really last for forever.
Nice.
Because they're diamonds. And yeah, then you flip it back over, and there's like this little lever in here, and it does come with some tweezers if you don't want to be dangerous and use your fingers.
I love living on the
I know,
dangerous
you gotta live
edge.
a little bit dangerous, but you know, just not cutting your finger off.
Exactly,
You know?
don't do that.
So then you just keep flipping it until it's sharp, and sometimes it takes a few more times. It's not really like, oh, it's always 3 times or something like that. You kind of just do
It depends on
times.
how much you use your blade and how dull it is to begin with. Yeah.
And definitely use some oil too. Like use a little bit. It's just like sewing machine oil, mineral oil. That definitely makes it turn out better. I also figured that out with the linear sharpener as well.
You can use oil in this guy?
I've used oil in it, and I feel like I've had a better success with that. Personally.
I did not know
I mean,
that.
you have to wipe it off after, which is a little bit annoying, but I like doing that. Okay, so tell me about your linear sharpener, because you said that this one's your favorite. And
This
I like
one
electric,
is my
but
favorite.
The linear one's really good.
So this guy I keep on the side of my cutting table all the time. It's not going anywhere, so then I can easily just keep my blade inside my cutter. I'll go 10 times one way, flip it 10 times the other way, because just like this, there is a diamond grade stone on one side, so you sharpen your blade like you would a knife. Then after that, I can keep cutting and my blade is gonna stay sharper for longer. I love this, but what makes me love it even more is when other people love it. And at Houston this last year, we are cutting all day, and those blades, like 8 hours a day of consistent cutting, those blades really dulled down. And so at Houston, I was able to show people like, oh my gosh, wait, my blade isn't as sharp as it was yesterday. Let me sharpen it really fast. And boom, it was brand new sharp. Someone else brought in one of our competitors' blades, trying to find them at Houston, but they weren't there. So she asked me like, hey, can you help me with this specific blade? It's straight out of the package and it does not work well. And so we ran it through this guy, and it took 15 times on both sides.
Okay.
But she had 2 of the blades, and we did it with both, and they were cutting like butter afterwards.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
it's so much better when someone else can see that one of the products you love works. This one though, I only recommend using it when your blade is dull. Some people like to sharpen it every couple of cuts, but I would say if your blade's still sharp, keep using it, and the minute you notice that it's dull or you have to press really hard to keep cutting, sharpen it.
Up.
And it, again, just like this guy, keeps your blade sharper for longer until that beveled edge is gone.
Yeah, and all right, just to like put it back in the Team Electric Sharpener camp again, we never showed how this one's also quick release.
Oh my gosh.
You know, taking it back out, you know, look how easy that is. How easy that is to pull out, right? And then you can pop it back in just like that. There's like no screws. Like our old one, you had to unscrew it. In other brands, you gotta like unscrew it, and then there's
Changing
like little
these out
pieces.
is the easiest thing ever.
So you literally just pop that back in there, which is so convenient. And it makes it easy to put it in the electric one as well.
And this guy, what I love about our comfort cutter is a lot of people ask like, wait, do you make a left-handed one? Guess what? All of our comfort cutters are left-handed ones. This whole thing comes apart, so then I can switch what side the blade's on.
Yeah, and I love showing people too,
There we go.
like that's,
Lefty and righty.
I love showing it, and like I always ask people to show like what hand are you, because we can switch it for both, you know?
Right.
It works for both sides.
And if you're someone who does not love an ergonomic cutter, even though we love it, we know that a lot of people like the traditional straight cutter. All of our straight cutters come with the guide that works with our rulers as well. So then you can still get your easy, safe, accurate cuts without having to get used to a whole new cutter.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's so many people that use it just because of like the guide. And I mean, there's just like so many stories I could tell about people that like switched over to this. Like,
Except I feel like we're almost out of time, and I want you to show them the circle cutter because it's one of the coolest things ever.
so this is the circle cutter, and okay, tell me how hard circles are to do without a circle cutter.
Oh my gosh, circles are so annoying. It just takes forever to cut out, to trace, to cut out. Some people have like a Cricut or like a device that will electronically cut things, but most of us normal folk do not.
Yeah, that's.
And I love doing applique, and I like the circle cutter for applique is my favorite of all time.
So yeah, I just love this, and I've heard other people that have used other ones that it's just like pretty tricky because this has like a nice little, you can see it's wide, so it's not gonna like crinkle up the fabric, and it's like a rotary blade inside of here that's being pushed down, and there's also a safety on here, so I'm just gonna push that back out. So there's this little latch right there, so you push that out, and then I always go, you take your non-dominant hand, I'm right-handed, so it's my left hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and you reach under your other hand, and then you just push down like that, and then
Magic!
voila! So I love showing people that, and there's also a lot of other fun things.
Yes.
Okay, all right?
Okay,
Check
let's
this
see the
out.
other one.
Check this out. Like you can make it into an apple, just like that. I didn't quite get the edge right there. But see, like this, or this could be a leaf, you know, like an applique leaf of some
I can
sort.
see an applique leaf.
Or you can make moons, or you know, then you can turn it into an apple core.
And if you're wondering, you can make circles anywhere from 2 inches in diameter to 12.5 inches in diameter. So you got a lot of room to work with, no matter what the square, or that's not a square, it's a circle. Come on, Jenna, let's bring it back to kindergarten. Whatever size circle you want.
And you can adjust what size it is by unrotating this and then adjusting this, so you can see that where the center of the circle is going to be, that's going to change based on where you put this. So yeah, you have a lot of flexibility in what size circles you want to make.
And right now, it is the best deal of the season. So go ahead and head to graceframe.com and take a look at all of our deals on TrueCut. And if I were you, now's the time to get some gifts for yourself and your friends, because your quilter friends are just going to love this as much as you are, like you already do.
Yeah, and honestly, just like look at the reviews and like what people are saying about it online too, because people love it, and you don't just have to take it from me or just from Jenna. I mean, but Jenna uses it all the time, so I feel like you can trust her pretty well about whether it's something good to use or not. But yeah, just look at the reviews, because I mean, people just love it, and I love selling it because it's good.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us for Winter Market and celebrating 40 years of Grace. I can't believe Grace has been around for that long. It's crazy.
I know, that is crazy.
And we'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Gina. This is my husband, Hal Halliday, with my good buddy, Beth, and we are co-founders of Wrap the World with Quilts.
I was riding my bike through Western Ukraine into Poland about 6 months before Russia invaded Ukraine. And the people I'd worked with started leaving as refugees. And one in particular, Natalia, shared a picture of her children at the border. And we were struck by the lack of luggage, supplies. What they just had was maybe a 1 or 2 days change of clothes. And it really touched us. We wondered how we could help Natalia.
Hal said, "Could we give you a quilt?" And she just had tears in her eyes and was really in awe that an American would even know what was happening in Ukraine, that an American would make them a handmade gift.
Yeah, it didn't take long before we realized that we had not only just the two of us, but lots of friends in the quilting world. And we thought maybe we could get 50 quilts or 100 quilts to send over to Natalia and some of those other women and their kids.
We put it out on our social media, Beth and I's social media, and the very next day I had quilts on my front porch, and every single day we've received quilt donations to help Ukrainian refugees. We get between 100 and 500 quilts donated every week. There's a program called the Give Back Box, so for a charity, you can ship a box like this to us, which weighs probably 40 or 50 pounds, for a flat $20. We get quilts, fleece blankets, knitted and crocheted items. They can be any size. We always need boy quilts. We're boy moms. We always need boy quilts. Our initial mission was to help refugees in Ukraine when the war broke out. We've been able to pivot and go to other countries as well as in the United States.
We just recently sent quilts to North Carolina to flood victims. We've sent quilts to Nebraska, tornado victims, those that were affected by the fires in Maui.
We've sent them to Gaza, Israel, Afghanistan, Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Armenia, Bangladesh, all through. We have a charity partnership with another charity called Lifting Hands International. So they've helped us ship and distribute all of these quilts.
So we started as Wrap Ukraine with Quilts. We're now Wrap the World with Quilts. We're all volunteer. It's unpaid. So when people donate $5 or $50 or $100 or more dollars, every penny goes into the process of getting quilts in the hands of those in need.
Quilters are the best. People are giving, loving. We have been so grateful for the people who have donated quilts, and they tell us, thank you for providing a place for us to give our quilts. So where the people who receive the quilts obviously are grateful for them, it's the people making them as well that have been grateful for us to kind of provide this avenue to get their quilts to help others.
That's one thing that surprised us.
Surprised us a lot.
But when we think about it, no, not surprising.
Yeah, quilters are awesome.
Tonight we've invited all of our friends, donors, volunteers, quilt makers, local business leaders, anybody and everybody who wants to come. We've got a lot of pictures and things on display. We've got a silent auction going on. As part of our auction, we've got 4 quilts that are for sale that were made by Ukrainian soldiers that were injured and are in a rehab facility. One of our kind of side missions that's maybe been really in full force this past year is we've opened up sewing centers, not just in Poland for refugee moms, but also in Ukraine. And we've got one here in Lehigh. The rest are in Poland and Ukraine. There's one in a school in Ukraine where school kids can learn to sew, and it's actually in their bomb shelter. So when they're stressed and worried, they can be creative and learn some new skills and kind of have fun making little projects. We've got one that's in a veterans facility for Ukrainian soldiers and as part of their rehab.
1 or 2 days before the invasion, I was talking to 2 colleagues that were living in Lviv, Ukraine, in this business relationship I had, and I asked them what their plan was. And I had no basis or to understand what it meant to have an imminent invasion in your country. And what I was so surprised by is how very quickly they said, we will fight for our freedom and our democracy. We want an independent country that is free from, intervention and interference. And that blew me away. And then of course the next day the war was on. But I just was really struck by their how much they loved their country and how much they wanted to preserve what they'd fought for to that point.
We met a woman at the sewing workshop, and she's sitting there sewing a simple item, and she just had tears streaming down her eyes because she was so happy to be sewing again. And we instantly decided that she could take one of these machines home with her. And she wrote us the most heartfelt thank you note saying that this gift of the sewing machine gave her incentive to continue to live. And a $300 sewing machine is pretty powerful. We are just so grateful for the opportunity to serve others, and we are so grateful to everyone who's donated to help us change the lives of other people. And the messages that we've gotten back from the QR code, we know that we're making a difference, and that's just really awesome.
Long-arm quilting simply is not possible without a frame. For the first 25 years, Grace Company dedicated itself to building and refining frames for every kind of quilter.
When I started with the company, everything we were doing was hand quilting frames, and then we had gotten into providing frames so that people could put their home sewing machines on a frame and do long arm machine quilting with their domestic machines. And then Jim Bagley, the owner, had seen some of the automated quilting stuff that was being done in the long arm quilting market. And our goal has always been to try and get products that give customers that kind of quilting experience, a long arm quilting experience, especially at the time when we weren't doing long arm machines yet, that kind of experience or that kind of result at a lower price point so that more people could quilt.
In 2008, Grace Company took a bold step into the future with its first automation system. This opened the door for quilters to finish their quilts at home with professional results.
And so he had begun talking about wanting to do that, but none of us were software engineers. We didn't really have the ability to do it. But he had run into a friend that he had known from his childhood, really, teenage years. And he was a software engineer, and they talked about what Jim's idea was for this, and started putting together some of the things we wanted to accomplish, what we wanted to provide to quilters. As machine quilting became more popular, it took an enormous amount of skill to be able to get consistent designs and move that free motion, and still does. And the thing that I think automation does for quilters is you get to be an artist. It's a tool. And so you can imagine or design in your head what you would like the end result to be. And this tool gives you the ability to do it without having to spend months and months and months practicing the muscle memory and getting the skills to do a beautiful feather or whatever you want to do. This gives the artist the ability, the tool to be able to get whatever end result they're trying to get and make it amazing without having to spend hours and months and years to develop the skill to get the system to do that. And so I think it's really freeing for quilters to be able to get the result they want.
As automation reshaped the quilting landscape, Grace Company continued improving its systems to meet the evolving needs of quilters from around the world.
So depending on where you're at in your quilting journey and the development of your own skills and what you want to do as a quilter, we have different tiers that fit that, and we've been very deliberate about trying to create those so that there's different price points. And I think that is the next evolution to that artistic expression, is now having automation to really create what you want to create, and not having to spend years and years developing the skill in order to get the end result that you want. And that's what I think the power is, and that's what I think will continue to make it appealing to younger people coming into this. And so I think it's a very important, what we're doing I think is important to the industry, it's important to quilters, and it will bring more people into quilting.
Hi, Hi, I'm Catherine,
And I'm Corey.
and welcome to Winter Market. We're so excited to be here, aren't we, Corey?
We are. We're going to be talking about QCT today. QCT stands for Quilters Creative Touch, and it is our automation program for our Qnique machines.
I love our automation program. I love how versatile it is, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, and it's really nice too because we have 3 different levels for whatever comfort level you're at with your automation skills. So why don't we go ahead and start going over those different levels?
The different levels? Okay.
Yeah.
So our first level is Quilters Creative Touch 6. And you can see here on the screen, we have all the levels set up there for you, and you can kind of see what each level has. So with the QCT 6, that is going to be your beginning level, has edge-to-edge pantographs on it. So just one row at a time of a design.
Yep, and that's all you can do, right? Just the one single edge-to-edge design.
Right, you do one row and then you reset it, do another row, reset it. The really nice thing about the QCT 6, the beginning level, is it has a built-in tutorial.
That is nice, yeah. It has step-by-step guides to show you exactly how to get started and finish your quilt.
Right, and I tell all the people that ever buy any of the levels of automation, start with QCT 6, because no matter what level you purchase or upgrade to, you can go back into the level QCT 6 and you can start learning with the tutorial. So it's a really nice feature to have. It doesn't let you move on to the next part of it until you've done that part. And so you really can't make mistakes, or when you do, it lets you know.
Yeah. So with QCT 6, what all comes with that? Well, with QCT 6, you get your edge-to-edge designs that you're able to do. And with the edge-to-edge design, you get 100 different patterns that are in your library that you can do that edge-to-edge design with.
Now, when we talk about edge-to-edge design, in case any of you out there watching don't know what that means, that's basically a pattern that will go from one side of your quilt to the other side of the quilt without stopping. Now, what if you wanted to do something more than just one row at a time? What would you do then?
So it kind of depends. So if I wanted to do like rows as well as block placement, then I would recommend jumping into either QCT 6 Plus or QCT 6 Pro. So let's go over some of the differences with those. So with QCT 6 Plus, you can do 2 rows of your pantographs at a time, edge-to-edge designs, or you can do single block placements, where I can go in and do just an individual block pattern on my quilt.
That's really nice, because I love to do blocks. They're easy to sew. I'm more of a quilter, not a piecer, so I like to do simple designs. So it'd be nice to put like a design within the block. Or can you also do design within like a triangle if you do a half square triangle?
Yeah. So in here, we can kind of show you a little bit. With QCT 6 Plus, you have your pantographs that you can do in Select and Sew. And with QCT 6 Plus, you're gonna get 200 different patterns that you can do. And so in here, I'll just go into Select and Sew.
We're just going to show you what we do. So we're gonna set where it's going to be stitching. This is your safe area. We're kind of just setting it. You normally would set it a little larger. And then that takes us into our patterns. You get 200 patterns. It's basically 100 edge-to-edge designs and 100 block designs. And in this case, we actually have some triangles, it looks like. What if we set something within a triangle?
Yeah, so you can see up here, we've got our block patterns, which is mostly our square patterns, our continuous line with our pantographs, and then we have our triangles in here as well. So if I did want something in one of these kind of triangle designs, I could definitely pick out one of these triangle designs and place it in here. And it'll automatically populate with either the 4 points or the 2 points. But if you come down here, you can click on triangle, and that makes it to where I can place it exactly where I want in my design here. Just like that. And then right now you can see it's a little disproportioned because I'm trying to fit it inside that triangle. If I wanted it just to fit in nicely inside there and I wasn't worried about it filling the whole triangle, but I wanted to keep the original aspect ratio, I could just click that fit, and that'll just put it back towards its original aspect ratio.
So tons of different options. I really love that you can do the blocks and the triangles as well as the 2 rows of pantographs with this level.
Yes.
It's such a nice feature to be able to do that. All right, so now we are here in our QCT 6 Pro. So you can see here you have the option with Select and Sew. That's going to be your block patterns, and you have your option for pantographs. With this level, you'll be able to design your entire quilt, lay it out, put your dimensions of your quilt in, be able to see your whole quilt laid out before you start stitching. So if you're a more visual person and like to see the whole thing before you even get started, Pro is kind of where you want to go. There's a couple of really awesome, nice features that come with Pro. One of them is called Pattern CAD. Now this is for people out there that are artists. Myself, not so much. Corey, maybe he is. Let's see what he wants to draw.
I am not, but I just wanted to show you. So with Pattern CAD, you can come in here and you can actually create your own designs. Like I can just use my finger in here and I can create like some fun little swirls if I want. Definitely not an artist, but you can kind of create whatever you want and make a design that's truly yours. And then you can save that as a block and place it on your quilt.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice. I mean, you can trace out like your kids' artwork, that sort of thing, and then you can stitch that right onto a quilt.
Yeah, and that's another really cool feature is we have record in here. So if you had like a design that you printed off online, but you wanted a digital version of it, you could actually print that and put a paper copy down on top of your quilt and then trace over it with your machine. If I hit start recording here, you can see it'll record however I move my machine. So that way you can trace different patterns to create your designs.
One other feature I like to talk about with the Pro version is the Quilt CAD. Basically, it's going to lay your quilt out in sections. You can set your sections in different sizes, and then you can do different things in each section. So if you wanted to put different patterns in different parts of your quilt, this is where you'd go for that. You can get really fancy with this.
Yeah, you can go and you can do like a different block in each one of these sections, a different pantograph, however you want to make your quilt look.
So with those 3 levels, like Corey said, you can upgrade within levels. And then once you've got Pro, we have what's called the gold card. Now let's talk about the gold card. There's a feature in there I really, really love to talk about.
There's a lot of things that I love about the gold card.
This is what the gold card looks like. So with the gold card, you're going to, number one, get tons of patterns. And every time we do an update, we add more patterns into the gold card. The thing I love to talk about in the gold card is the font stitcher. So with every quilt that I do, I'll put some sort of hidden message in the quilt. And I like to use font stitcher for that.
That's so fun.
Yes. And it's fun to do different fonts and just do them smaller or bigger and within the quilt somewhere.
My personal favorite feature in the gold card is the pattern eclipse. If you are doing a pantograph, but you have like a block pattern in your quilt and you don't want your pantograph to go over that block, you can make it to where your pantograph will actually go around it and it'll essentially kind of block out that section of your pantograph to not go over your block. And so I just think it's a really cool, fun feature to kind of mix up different designs together and kind of create a unique look.
Well, and I love that feature as well for any of you out there that do embroidery. So say you want to put a block of embroidery within your quilt, but you don't want to have that stitched over. You've already done the work, so you can eclipse that part of the quilt right out and it won't stitch over it.
Yeah, there are so many amazing features in Gold Card. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to go over all of them today, but we do have a lot of resource videos on YouTube, on our resources page on our website, so you can always check those out to watch different videos to learn more and just get all the nitty-gritty details about each program.
Yeah, and the one other thing I want to just throw out there, if you have Pro and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to get some of these other features, definitely get the gold card on top of your Pro level.
All right, so I think we've talked quite a bit about some of the different things you can do on here, but let's see it in action.
Okay, let's do a pattern.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and do like a block pattern.
Okay.
So with blocks, it's going to be select and sew, and we're gonna choose us a block.
Let's do, this is a fun little star one. It looks
that
kind of
one
like
is
a
very cute.
poinsettia.
Yeah.
Pretty Christmassy.
We're getting into Christmas. Okay, let's do it within 4 points so it looks like a flower.
Yeah.
All right, so Corey's gonna set the 4 points of the block. You can see him moving the machine around. And as he's moving it, he's touching each node where he wants that block to end. And if he doesn't like where the placement is, he can retouch that node until it looks how he likes it. All right, I think we've got a pretty good flower there.
One thing I do really like that you can do with the blocks too is you can actually kind of do some customization in here. So if I wanted to, I can kind of rotate it, kind of get it to look exactly how I want it to before I stitch it out.
Which is kind of fun if you have a block facing a block and you want your elephant to be looking at your giraffe, you can flip one or the other so they're looking at each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely some fun things you can do. All right, so once I've got it set how I want it, I'm just gonna press this quilt right here.
And what you will see is it'll take you to the sew. Now we like to move it right to where your starting point is, where the green circle is. So the machine is now moving to that start point where he set it.
And I actually pressed pull bobbin, so it's actually going to move to where it's going to start. It's going to do just a single stitch, and then I'm going to grab my thread, and then it's going to move away, so that way it'll pull up my bobbin. There we go, I've got my bobbin there.
Nice.
And then now I can press sew.
It's going to move back to the starting point, and here we go. You're going to watch it stitch. Look how fast it is.
I know, it does go really fast.
I know, it really will speed up a project, don't you think?
Yep.
And if you haven't thought of getting into automation, let me tell you, it is fun. It's fun to experiment, it's fun to do different designs on different quilts. It really changes up,
Yeah.
you know, some of the looks of your quilt, definitely.
And we do have automation levels. Like we said, we have the 3 different levels for whatever
Level
comfort
and
level
price
you have.
point that you have, we've got it there for you. So look how beautiful that star is. You can't really see it here because of the brightness of our quilt, but you know, if we take our quilt off, you'll see how beautiful it will look.
Yeah. All right, so that was our block pattern. Now we're gonna show you how we would do a pantograph.
All right, so it's basically the same thing. We're gonna go out to the main screen again, and this time we're going to choose pantograph. And we are going to select our design. I like to go into continuous lines, so I know that it stitches from end to end very easily. I really like this little heart pattern, so I'll open that guy up there. All right, look at that. So what I'm saying, I went into Pro, and my quilt is loaded in as a 41-inch width and 15-inch height. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. And you can see how easy it is to adjust your pattern just by a couple clicks of the button there. So we want to go ahead and sew in zones. Now it's going to ask us to place our pattern. So you can see we've got A right there. We're going to mark the top point of our quilt top. So we're going to imagine this is our top point here. We're going to touch that. And then we're going to go across the quilt to the end and do B. Now the reason that it is red is because when Corey and I set this up, we didn't set our safe zone. So we're going to reset it a little bit here. All right. All right. You can see there that we've got our pattern, and then all you're going to do is hit sew. That's going to move your machine right over to the starting point, just like it did with the block pattern. And then, of course, we'll want to pull up our bobbin again and start sewing our pattern. And it's as easy as that. Now we don't want to stitch this whole pattern. That'll take too long, and we only have a certain amount of time. And Corey, isn't there something that we really want to introduce to the folks out there?
Yes, we want to introduce you guys to one of our newest, latest and greatest products that we just released.
So now we're going to talk about our new design store, and Corey's going to get us into our design store. This is something that we have been just waiting to tell you all about. It is so exciting.
Yes, it's been a long time coming.
It really has. I mean, it makes it easier to look up patterns, and it makes it easier to, if you don't see something in your QCT that you want to do, you can buy the pattern. So this is our design store. Where do you find it?
All right, so one of the easiest ways to get to our design store is just directly from our homepage here. Click on the shop icon, and then it'll bring down a drop-down menu, and there will be a design store option that you can click there, and it'll take you to the design store. But once you're in here, we have tons and tons of designs in here. Continuous line patterns, block designs, just all kinds of really beautiful designs in here that you can purchase to use on your automation.
Yeah, there's borders, corners. I mean, you can narrow it down in your search bar, but there's so many thousands of designs. If you currently are with 6 or 6 plus and you only have a limited number of designs, and you're wanting, say, like a cupcake we've got sitting right there, or the cute jack-o'-lantern with the scary house on top of it, you can just download it. Now, it looks like you have to buy it, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how it works in the design store.
So with the design store, you can either purchase individual designs, they're usually $10, $9.99, or we have a month subscription that you can sign up for, which is $20 a month, and you get 10 credits per month. And each one of those credits can be used to purchase one of the designs. So if you're somebody who's quilting quite a bit and you're always looking for new designs, that subscription model is definitely going to be a good option for you.
If you do the math, it's $2 a design. So it is really the best way to go if you're downloading more than 1 or 2 designs a month.
And the great thing is too, is this is not all we have.
No, this
we
is
are
just
always
the beginning.
making new designs.
Yes.
So yeah, this is just the beginning, just like Kathy said. So
yes, so you'll
much
see
more to come.
New designs popping in as our education team, our designers, our ambassadors, they're all creating. But let's talk a little bit about this other little feature that's included with the design store.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is our picture stitcher here. This is a really cool tool that you can use to take a photo, upload it into this program, and it'll turn it into a quilting design for you that you can then stitch onto your quilt, which I think is so fun and so cool. So this dog right here was actually one of our employees' dogs, and they took the picture, they uploaded it into Picture Stitcher, created the design, and then made this cute little pillow out of it.
It's such a fun thing to do. And when we all were able to test it, we all had different pictures that we were loading in there. And it was so fun to see what everyone's designs were from their pictures that they were loading in.
Yeah.
So it's a fun feature. It's included with the subscription.
Yes.
So if you get the subscription and pay for that monthly, you are able to do up to 10 pictures a month. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's another good way to get it. You can also do 1 picture at a time, just the same way that you can order 1 design at a time. So one of the nice things I love about this is that you can look at our best sellers, new releases. So say you've looked at it and you've come back a month or so later, you want to see what the new designs are, you would just click on new releases here and it'll show you everything that's been new that we've added. You can search by category, you can search by type. So if you're only looking for continuous designs because you have QCT6 and can only do an edge-to-edge design, that's how you would search that. So it's nice that it narrows it down to those different features. If you're only looking for borders and corners, that's where you would search. The search bar is very easy, a lot easier to search through than, you know, in the past where we've had to like look in the folders, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a great feature.
Yeah, one of the things I really love too about our design store is once you purchase a design from us and you upload it on your tablet, something happens to your tablet, you don't have to worry about losing that design.
Right.
Any design that you purchase and any design that you make with our Picture Stitcher is going to live on our website, on your library that you create when you join this account. So that way you always have access to any designs that you purchase.
Right, so it'll just live in your account. Anytime you want to go in and see what you've purchased or see the ones that you've done Picture Stitcher with, you just go into your account and they are there and you can look at them. Yeah, so we're excited about the design store. It's going to be great for both QCT, which we've talked about today, all the levels, as well as our new QMX quilt motion for domestic machines. It's going to be great for that as well. So it's kind of fun. We're excited.
Yep, and like we said, we didn't have a ton of time to go over anything, so if you do have questions, call us, message us, check out our YouTube video for resources. We have lots of different ways we can answer questions for you guys.
Yes, and we're always here for you, and we're excited to tell you more about the product. So give us a call, reach out to us.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Innovation is at the heart of what we do here at Grace Company. We're always looking for new ways to solve frustrations and make quilting more accessible. In fact, you could say that Grace Company was born from innovation. The very first Grace frame was created in 1985. Grace Bagley was working at a local quilt shop where she witnessed firsthand the needs of the quilting industry. During a conversation with her son Jim, she expressed these wants and wishes, not knowing that these simple comments would spark the invention of a better quilting frame and the founding of a company. Jim held on to the idea, and his creative wheels began to spin. Soon, through impressive ingenuity and workmanship, Jim was manufacturing a frame of his own invention, fittingly named the Grace Frame. In 1998, Jim designed and introduced the industry's first square hoop for quilting. In 2001, Grace Company began making frames designed for machine quilting.
We started off small with just doing quilting frames. What Jim was really trying to push us to do is to rethink how quilting worked and rethink how tools and products could be done and try to make it so the customer experience could always be improved is what we were really trying to accomplish.
When I told my in-laws that I was going to do quilting frames, I said, well, we're going to go do this show in Houston. I had my mom and my wife and our little daughter, Bonnie, who is not even 6 months old, and we get in the van and we put a bunch of quilting frames in there and take them down and had a 10 by 10 booth. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done. And we sold enough quilting frames to keep going.
In 2006, Grace introduced their first frame without wooden components, the next generation machine quilting frame. In 2008, Grace Company launched the first iteration of quilt motion automation and the first true cut product.
Our goal has always been to try and get products that give customers that kind of quilting experience, a long arm quilting experience, especially at the time when we weren't doing long arm machines yet. That kind of experience or that kind of result at a lower price point so that more people could quilt. The stuff that was out at the time was not very user friendly at all, especially on the design side. And so that was really the focus and the goal of what we wanted to bring to market, was something that would make it much easier for quilters to be able to design what they wanted and then get that on the quilt without having to practice so much to get perfect designs. And so that's really where it started.
We had been in the machine quilting arena for 7 years. That had opened our eyes to a new segment of the market, rotary cutting, and came up with a new rotary cutting system that would make a quilter more accurate as they cut, safer certainly, so that they're not accidentally cutting over their hand or anything. Just a simpler, easier way to cut your fabric. Before then, you just had your simple rotary cutters, rulers, there's a bunch of them, but we were the first to come out with an injection molded ruler. It was able to be designed because of that with a raised lip on the edge that then the corresponding guide on the cutter could slip over and track along as you cut, and it was really revolutionary.
In 2014, we created our own line of quilting machines, starting with the Qunique 14 Plus.
Nobody had done a quilting machine. We had to figure out everything, essentially. We had to learn and research everything from needles to hooks and bobbins and thread paths and thread types and fabric types, all to make it so we could make a sewing machine. There's other long arm quilting machines and different stuff, but what we were trying to do is make it so we can have the mid-range, mid-arm machine is what we were really trying to create, because we saw that there was this opportunity. What we were trying to do is make it so quilting and long arm quilting could be more accessible to hobbyists and people. Yes, there were machines in the industry and market, and we did explore how some of those worked, but we really had to essentially still develop everything from the ground up. We developed every piece on our own. Definitely some experimentation, some engineering, and some research that went with it, and a mix of luck to make it all work. Yeah, it was an adventure. That pivot really changed us, not just for having a new product, but it changed and set us a new foundation. It didn't just pivot that with the product, but it pivoted our entire company.
Our sewing machines they're as good as it gets, and they're only going to get better.
In 2015, Grace introduced the industry's first space-saving hoop-style quilting frame.
It was a space-saving product, and not only that, it allowed you to quilt larger size quilts without taking up a full room space. It was just so cool to see how the market gravitated towards it. It revolutionized, the way we quilt.
In 2020, the Grace Company launched the Cutie Tabletop Fabric Frame, making frame quilting more accessible than ever. This frame's portable design doesn't require a dedicated space in your home, all while still being able to make quilts of any size. In 2023, Grace Company created the Little Rebel, a machine that can go from sewing to quilting and makes it easy to begin your quilting journey with us. In 2024, the Grace Company introduced the Mini Quilter, expanding our offering of space-saving, affordable tabletop fabric frames. And now, in 2025, with products like the Hummingbird Hoop and Quilt Motion X foundations for domestic machines, Grace Company is continually striving to make the joy of quilting possible to as many people as we can.
I think it continues to get more convenient to do at home. I think that's the goal. So I think really focusing on making the quilter be able to do more of what they love is truly the intent.
We aim to offer our customers quality experiences, so we're continually adapting our products and services to meet the evolving needs of quilters everywhere.
What we're doing, there's always a better way, and he's always pushed that.
I look at how we began, and we're going to only get better from here, too. We have a lot of ways to improve, and if I have anything to say about it, we're going to get better and better, and that's a thing to be proud of.
Grace Company consistently generates new and exciting ideas, experiments in new product design, and is always on the rise to better heights in excellence and quality.
What a great start to this winter market, Natalie. Wonderful product that we've been showing, the Unique machines, the cutting tools. Yeah, just fantastic. And 40 years, and this has been a great way to start.
Yeah, it's been really great. And I think we're going to start with our...
Yeah, we have wonderful specials going on right now. So you saw all the wonderful products. You saw the machines. You saw the machines on that. You have the tools. Now's the time to be like, what can I get these for? These are on sale, and right now we're going to talk about the product that's on sale. All of them are on sale, especially this time of year, Natalie, where it's holiday season, and we want to make sure that you guys are taken care of, because I know that you guys have a lot of stashes of quilt tops ready to be made, and let's get through those.
Yep, it's the holiday season, and we want to knock out those projects.
Yep, absolutely. And so as we start, one of the wonderful things is our partners. And so you can actually find all of these wonderful deals through our dealer network. And as we go through our dealer network, what's closest to you, you can go online. We have a lot of them around. And so make sure you go to our website to find our dealer network so that you're able to find the best deal through your local dealer and support them. On our website, we have our dealer locator up under resources, or at the bottom, you can go and find it. And then in there, you just put in your zip code and a couple numbers, and you can find the best dealer towards you.
Yeah, I would say the easiest way to actually access what dealers are near you is to select your state, and then you can kind of navigate through who's available to you. And you can even, it has all of their information there. So you can even give your local dealer a call to verify if there's something that you specifically wanted to see.
Absolutely. Okay, so 15%. Okay, 15% is what we're doing, and this is site-wide. So 15%, this is excluding the Cutie Breeze, the Mini Quilter, the Hummingbird, the QMX Foundations, which has been a very hot topic, the QCT tablet, and the gold card. But this is site-wide. What an amazing opportunity it is to finish your projects with 15% off. And these 15% goes towards the items that they've been watching.
Yeah, yep, it's all the items you've been watching. And there are a couple of things that are excluded from the sale. There's the QMXFD, the gold card tablet that go along with the QCT. And then the Hummingbird and the Mini Quilter, I believe. I think those are the main ones.
Yep. So again, I know around this holiday season, we want to make sure we have the right tools, right? The right machine to finish the projects. Loved ones, you have quilts ready. You've been looking at the machines. You probably haven't purchased yet. You've been looking, but now's the time to get it, especially during the holiday season. And when you spend over $100 here at Grace Company, you're going to get the free shipping, and which is easy to do. $100 will be easy to come by. So keep that in mind as you look through these wonderful sales. Put in your cart what you're looking to get, and go from there, especially get that free shipping. But 50%. Let's go ahead and start with the sharpeners.
Yeah, the True Cut sharpeners, they are actually on 20% off. That's really exciting because instead of having to constantly replace your blades all the time, you can actually extend the life of your blades by using these sharpeners, and that can end up saving you quite a bit of money.
Yeah, absolutely. We all saw, who was it? It was, I believe it was, yeah, Jarek and Jenna talking about the sharpeners, and they're right. So if you have dull blades, if you're doing a lot of cutting around this holiday season, and even after the holiday season, because this is a fun hobby, cutting with the dull blade isn't fun. So get those sharpeners. They're great stocking stuffers, Natalie. So get those sharpeners for the ones you love, maybe for yourself, maybe buying both as a package, because one is electric and one is a manual. So 20% off sharpeners to make sure your blade is cutting straight all the time. The next one we have will be our Little Rebel. The Little Rebel has been such a great machine, and now with these prices, it's even better.
It has been. It's really great, especially if you're just getting into the hobby. It's kind of a really great in-between going from a domestic to a quilting machine. It can do your straight stitching, so all of your piecing you can do with it on your regular table, and then you can take it over to a frame and start quilting with it. And it's a really great way to kind of save space and to just ease your way into the hobby.
Absolutely. And with these prices, it's a great way to get a bundle. So with the Breeze, with the Hoop, with the Queen, get your Little Rebel bundle now while it's at these phenomenal prices during the season. Finish those projects that you are set out to do. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is our 16X bundles. And Natalie, the 16X has been our #1 selling machine. It is easy, it is fast, it is just a fun machine. And look at these packages that you get during this holiday season special that you can have with any of these frames at these phenomenal costs.
That's true. And something that's really cool that you might notice about the pricing is that the Cutie Breeze, the Q-Zone Hoop, and the Q-Zone Queen are all showing the same price, even though they're different frames. With those 3 frames, buying your 16X, you can get one of those frames for free. And then even the Evolution Hoop, if you wanted to kind of really get your bang for your buck, that Evolution Hoop frame and Elite frame are both severely discounted. And so it's just a really great opportunity to kind of save some money while getting the setup that's going to work the best for your home.
Absolutely. Get the frame you want, get the machine you want at the price that you want as well. So the 16X bundle, what a great package. Again, go through our partner. If you're looking at any of these packages, all of our dealers have the price and they have that local support. They also have the ability to make sure you're taking care of anywhere else in the world too. So finish our dealers or find out our dealers as well. The next one has been one of a good selling machine. It's been one that you also like. It's our Elite machine, right?
Yep, I do. I love our Elite machines. The 16Xs and the 19Xs, they all have those features of your different stitch types, a smoother quilting experience and everything with the wheels and the dual tracks and everything. But the Elites offer you some extra tools as well that really make that price bump worth it. They make it so that you have a bobbin estimator, so you're not running out of bobbin in the middle of a project and having to go back over and fix that. That's personally one of my favorite things. It also comes with a built-in troubleshooting guide and kind of an instruction manual if you wanted some quick tips and tricks.
Yes, it does. So the 16X Elite, get this now, either with the Breeze or the Hoop. And these frames are really nice because they're small and you can do large quilts. And so if you're looking at your space and you don't have the space to fit in a large frame, it doesn't matter. You can fit in the Breeze, fit in the Hoop, and do your king-size quilts. Look at these packages, write them down because these deals are fantastic. So you have your 16X Elite with any one of these frames, and it even goes up to our Evolution Elite, which is our top selling frame from our Elite side. So fantastic bundles, 16X Elite, phenomenal prices, especially this time of year, finish those projects. Okay, now the 19X. The 19X has been one that a lot of people like because it is a very light machine, Natalie. It's 19 inches of throw space. And look at these packages. You can get a 19X machine for just over $5,000 with one of those frames.
That's true. And with the with the 19X, that's really the largest machine that you can use with some of our smaller hoop frames. So if you kind of have a limited space that's available for you, that 19X and 19X Elite are going to be the machines that really just give you the biggest quilt zone possible for your smaller spaces.
That's right. Easy machine, fast machine, light machine, and look at these prices, phenomenal prices. Again, during this time, what better way to bring in a machine into your home to finish projects with a nice size 19-inch throat with stitch regulation. Now, the 19X kicks it off with our 19 series, because we also have an Elite series that has that larger screen as well that we demoed a little earlier. But these prices, again, I want to just make sure everybody understands the first 3 frames that they can see there, Natalie, they're all the same cost because you get that frame essentially for free.
Yeah, you get it for free, which honestly, it's a really great savings, and you can kind of see the savings there, but everything's kind of jumbled up as far as them being bundled together. These frames can go anywhere from $600 to $18 and over $2,000 that you're getting saved just in the frame alone with these bundles.
That's right. So the 19X Elite and the 19X, the 16X Elite, the 16X, all of these have great prices. And this leads us into our 21X Elite. This is our biggest machine. It's our fastest machine. It is our best machine. It's one of our quieter machines.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic machine. And then these prices can't be beat. Phenomenal prices with this. And so let's go ahead and look at this now. You can get an Evolution hoop for $85.56 with the machine.
So this machine, it's large enough that it actually doesn't even fit on those our previous frames, on those smaller frames. And so what you'll notice with the price difference between the Evolution hoop and the Evolution Elite is that the Evolution hoop actually comes free with the 21X Elite. And then there's just a minor price bump for that full-sized Evolution frame.
That's right. So you have all of our machines, and yes, I saw a comment earlier. That comment says, does the free light bar come with the machine and frame combo? Yes. So you do get the free light bar with a machine purchase. This is fantastic. We saw the segment earlier that talks about the lighting. You can never have enough light. This light you can get in a 5-foot or a 10-foot. And if you get a 10-foot, you can build it into an 8. So if you're looking at a queen size frame, you can have pretty much any size of lighting to go with your size of frame that you have. So you do get that free light bar with any purchase of machine. Lighting is great.
It is. Well, and it makes it so much easier. You know, I think a lot of homes don't always have quite as much lighting as you need, especially when you're trying to see those tiny little stitches in your pattern to make sure that everything's coming out right, to make sure that your pattern is looking the way you want. And so those lights definitely help you with making sure that you're able to get the quality that you wanted out of your quilting.
Absolutely. True light is the best. Okay, so those are all of our machines. Again, machines are fantastic because we all have a stack of quilt tops ready to make. We have space issues, we have maybe budget cost. You saw right there, you can get any one of our Unique 16s with pretty much a budget that fits for you and a frame that fits for you. Now's the time to buy, and don't forget to also check out all of our wonderful dealers across the nation. They will help you, they'll support you. You can find them on our dealer locator. You can go there. There's a couple places you can find them, but please go to our website and you can find our dealer locator for all of your wonderful dealers. Okay, so those are our machines. We did do a segment on the automation.
Yeah,
the automation is also something that they can get at a great price, and we have 3 wonderful options for customers to, again, fit their budget, fit whatever they're ready to do, starting with our QCT6 edge to edge, just at $22.49 for the automation is fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and you get to kind of start at your comfort level. You know, we have some quilters who might be a little bit more intimidated by software and by computers in general. And so having those different levels, having that QCT6 edge to edge or that basic level really gives you the chance to get to know your software before you start
Absolutely.
jumping into some of the more detail-oriented
Absolutely.
programs.
What a great time to do custom quilting. The Quilters Creative Touch provides you with the right tools to create those custom quilts, especially this time of year. We all want our quilt tops to look great. I know free motion quilters, they're saying, oh, this doesn't look as good. You know what, free motion quilting is fantastic, but if you're looking to take the next step and have those custom quilts, now you can pick any one of these options to put on any one of our machines. So you can get the Pro to go with our little Rebel. You could also get our edge to edge, very basic software to go with our 21. Mix and match what best fits what you're doing now. Great prices. Take advantage of these now while they are up and going. So that's our Quilters Creative Touch. We also have a upgrade package that if you choose to grab the edge to edge, Natalie, you can also upgrade to go to the next platform.
That's true, that's true. So if you've started with the edge to edge and you realize that you want to grow, or if you've started with the Plus and you realize you want to go all the way to the Pro for those features that it offers, you don't have to purchase a whole new system. You don't have to purchase the hardware again. It's just the software update. So you really get a little USB that comes in and gives you the rest of that software in order to upgrade your system. So it's nice and easy to transition from one level to another. And you'll notice that the pricing, even when it's not on sale, the pricing is just the difference in cost between the two levels. And so then when it's on sale, that pricing goes down. So right now really is the best time to upgrade. If you've got that edge to edge and you really wanted to start doing block patterns, or you wanted to start being able to add new patterns from other sources into your system, upgrading to the Plus or upgrading to the Pro, it's a really great time to jump on those sales.
It is. Now these prices, I just want to point out, you see at the bottom there, so the discounts, it does exclude QCT6 tablet and the card on that, so the gold card. Those are still available. The gold card is a fantastic accessory, Natalie, to go with any one of these. And so if you've been looking at getting the Quilters Creative Touch, this savings with the automation will allow you to, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get the gold card. I can get the gold card and get those additional features that gives you more of a better experience with different types of quilting. Check out the gold card on our website.
And the gold card, sorry to cut you off, Mark.
That's okay, go right ahead.
The gold card does specifically work with the QCT Pro. And so you do have to have that Pro in order for the gold card to be applied. It has, the Pro has all of the software required for the gold card to work.
That's right.
But the gold card gives you access to features like borders and corners and font stitcher. You know, we have Kathy, who you saw earlier, who loves to put little sayings in the quilts that she makes, and she always writes like from Gigi or something to her little grandbabies.
Yeah, that's right. So that gold card is fantastic. It's a great accessory. The other one I like about the gold card, Natalie, is fabric compensation. And so we as quilters know that sometimes you don't get a perfect border and it's a little wonky. And so on the gold card, you can actually go ahead and map out, and you can pretty much get exactly, if you have, and this is pretty off here, but like if your border's like wavy like that, you can make sure that your border fits in that wonkiness with the fabric compensation that comes with the gold card. So you're right, wonderful features on the gold card. But again, part of the sale is not it, but with the money that you're saving with the automation, get the gold card. It is a perfect stocking stuffer. Get it for the ones who maybe already have automation, they've been thinking about it. Go ahead and look at that. But what a great sell so far with all the automation, custom size quilting. Now we're going to get to the mini quilter tabletop. This mini quilter, Natalie, at $299 has really changed how hobbyists, quilting enthusiasts look at how they quilt. Because this particular product allows you to use your own machine to do your quilting, which is fantastic. And look at the size right there. That's only about 2 foot in size. It's really, really small.
Yeah, it's pretty small. Well, and so like you mentioned, it is very small. And so if you are in an apartment or you're in a condo and you really just don't have the space for an 8-foot table or larger, you can cut back and you can use something that you can get through just about any size of quilt you've got the patience for on that mini quilter with your limited space.
Great to travel with. If you are one of those quilters that has an RV, or you travel, or maybe you have a winter home and a summer home, the mini quilter is such a great little accessory, what I like to call it, for your home sewing machine. You can do twin quilts, baby quilts, lap runners. It's not really ideal for those large ones just because the amount of hooping that we talked about.
Yeah,
right?
it is a lot of moving your quilt around, and so that can get frustrating with the larger ones.
But if you're doing baby quilts, lap quilts, you can definitely do it on the mini quilter, and allows you to use your own machine to get that going.
Well, and then this is the Hummingbird hoop accessory. I'm actually really excited about this one because we've spoken to some quilters who they don't necessarily want to use a frame. They push quilt and they like push quilting, and that's just their favorite way to do things. And so we took a look at how that works, and we noticed that some people were having a hard time with maintaining all of their fabric. They were throwing it over their shoulder. They were trying to make sure that they're not doubling up their quilt while they're stitching through their pattern. And we were able to come up with this Hummingbird hoop accessory to help maintain your fabric and help you through doing your push quilting.
Yes, and you know, it's the price. $249.95 is the price for the Hummingbird. We launched this Hummingbird just a couple months ago, and it has really helped those quilters do a lot more with their quilting, and it's really provided a better tool for those quilters who still wanted to move the fabric around, like you had mentioned. There's a lot of quilters that still like to move the fabric around. This is such a better way to move the fabric around while it's on the table. And then you saw the mat in that picture. That mat actually comes with it as well. So on a quick little thing about that Hummingbird, it has wheels at the bottom. So as you roll around your table on that mat, you now have that free motion roller. You can go back and forth, side to side. So you really do get really good custom quilts just by moving your hoop around. So if you're those quilters that like to move the fabric around, this is such a great accessory to bring, and it's very lightweight. It's portable, as I mentioned, even with the mini quilter. So both the mini quilter and Hummingbird take with you as you travel. Perfect for this holiday season. Those boxes are small. Get it for the loved ones. Get it for those who are trying to quilt.
Easy to
learning
wrap.
to quilt. Yes, easy to wrap. Get it for those loved ones. Okay, Natalie, we launched the Hummingbird, as I mentioned a couple months ago. We also launched this product, the QMX FD, which is automation for all domestic sewing machines. You can quilt custom quilts with an automated system for your own machine. And look at these prices. These prices for custom quilts for your own machine is incredible.
That's true. For those people who are wanting to stick with their domestic machine, that's their baby, that's their favorite tool to use when they're quilting. It's a really great way to not have to buy a new machine and to use what you have. I don't know about you, but I definitely get stuck doing the same simple meander. And sometimes it's kind of nice to switch that up with a different pattern, whether that's a teddy bear. I think we've even got otters in our design store.
That's right.
But
so this automation, fantastic way to do custom quilts with the domestic. There's no other automation out there that gives you the easy experience, user-friendly experience, pricing that QMX does for your domestic machine. So again, this holiday season, as you're looking around at your own stash of quilts, someone you might know who has also the quilting fever, custom quilts is something that we are seeing a lot more of, and they do a lot of them on automation. Now these customers who own a domestic, who want to do that same type of quilting, are not left out. Get your automated system for your domestic machine today. Get it through us at that wonderful price or through your dealer. Now, these have been going fast. Have been going fast. One of the best product that we've sold in the last couple of months with the launch. So get going on the QMX FD. Custom quilts at that price is fantastic.
These sales are going through December. And so as far as your timing, as far as how much time you have to jump on these sales, they are going through
Winter market.
December.
So, well, right, for winter market. So these sales, watch over the weekend because we will look at going through. So get it through this weekend as we're launching right here.
that.
No, it is, So it is a perfect opportunity to get it through, through the holidays. This is a holiday sale. So get it through the holidays as we're looking at it. Judy mentions Grace Company. I make mostly king size quilts. Which frame would be the best to get? Great question, Judy. If you're doing king size quilts, I would do the Cutie frame, the Cutie Breeze frame, because it allows you.
It's definitely an option. It's definitely an option
Right.
to do the Cutie frame.
Right, you're right. As I'm looking at, I guess maybe space. So Judy, if your question is regarding space, the Cutie frame is the best one. If you don't have issues with space, I would get the Evolution Elite, as that has other accessories you can get, like the either bar, you can have a batting bar, there's a lot you can do. So I would either do the Evolution Elite or the Cutie if you're looking to do king size quilts.
Well, and if you're wanting to kind of get a middle of the price range, we do have the Q-Zone Queen. It's an 8-foot frame, but if you're wanting to do king size frame or king size quilts on it, we do have a 2-foot extension for that Q-Zone Queen as well.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, how often do you recommend service of our machines? Great question. You know, as you probably listen to, Eddie and Cody and Jim and just talking about the product development and all of the wonderful things of that nature, our machines are really built so that it's easy for you. So as far as getting it serviced, they're actually quite easy to service yourself. Oiling the machine is what you really need to do to maintain it. So you oil the bobbin hook, oil the needle bar. If something does go crazy with it, you can take it in, but you actually don't need to take these in and get it serviced like most domestic or other long arms, and they have 6 months or 2 year or 1 million stitches or whatever, something like that. So these machines are actually easy to operate. Less servicing arm machines, which makes it easy for you to do what you do the best, and what you do and love is quilting. So let's get a machine that gets you through those with less servicing.
Okay, and then the Quilt Motion X, something that we actually forgot to mention was that the Quilt Motion X is specifically designed to work with the Cutie Breeze frame. It won't work with any other frame. It is meant to work with that Cutie Breeze. It only attaches to that frame. So it's got, I don't know, all of the things that you need for your domestic machine to work with it.
That's right. Okay, can you adjust the distance in the edge-to-edge design on the QMX? You can. So with the automation, and I love that question because that's a pantograph question as you look at doing edge-to-edge. So yeah, if you're only working in a foot of space, when you point, when you place your pattern with the points, it will automatically size your pantograph, and it'll give you the measurement. So if you're working on a 2-foot space, you just point from point A to point B and it will size it. So it actually sizes with your distance. So it allows you pretty much to work within the work area. And since it's with the Cutie Breeze, you only have the work area that you have on the Cutie Breeze before you have to transition to the ones lower or the fabric hanging over the side.
Well, and with the QCT6 as well, you are able to set it up according to the space that you have. So if it's that edge to edge and you're using a Cutie frame, you can adjust it so that it's going the size of the pattern that you want all the way across your frame, and then moving along with your what's it called, zoning.
Yeah, with your zoning, yeah. So great question on that. And that's one thing I love about the QMX FD is that you can size, between your blocks or your pantograph, you can size it. So again, custom quilts with that is fantastic. So a lot of segments have been happening. Sales, great sales on all of our machines. The light bar comes free with those machines. The QMX automation for domestic, the automation for long arms, the True Cut, 20% off of the sharpeners. Just a fantastic time to get those presents. especially this time of year with the holiday season, stocking stuffers, loved ones, again, finishing those quilts is what we want to do.
Yeah, finishing your quilts. Well, and something to help you along the way, we've got some giveaways going on.
Yes, we love giveaways. So the giveaway, what are we giving away?
It looks like we're giving away a mini quilter. And as far as the winner,
yeah, so real quick on the mini quilter, the person's going to win. Just a recap on this. The winner, this mini quilter, again, is a tabletop hoop for your own domestic machine. And it's really good for baby quilts, lap quilts. It is just a fantastic accessory to use with your own domestic. So this mini quilter is a $299 item we're giving away for free. And it's just a great way, like you said, to kick off the holidays, to finish those quilts. So we do have a winner. Let's go ahead and get a drum roll going. And as we bring it up, so drum roll for the winner.
Sharon
Congratulations, Sharon. So you are the winner of this. And so we have your information as a registrant, but if we need to get a hold of you, or if you haven't heard anything from us, please reach out to Allegra.
That'll be
Her email will come
Allegra
up.
at graceframe.com.
That's right. But we do have your information, so we should be good. But just in case, email Allegra at graceframe.com so that way we can make sure you get your gift just in time for the holiday. You'll get it before Christmas. Get those quilts made. But Natalie, great job, Sharon, by the way, on the winner. Congratulations on that.
Yay!
Yay is right. What a opportunity it is to finish projects with either product that we have for your own domestics. We're talking about the mini quilter. We're talking about even the Cutie Breeze. We're talking about the Hummingbird. What a great way to use your own machine. Then if you want to customize your work, now that we have the automation for long arms, which are QCT, and then we have that fantastic QMX FD for all domestics. So you can customize your work with the automations, and then all of the machines on sale too. So this holiday season, Natalie, there's something for everybody, at a price for everybody, at a size for everybody if you are issued to size.
Yep.
Right? Well, it's been fantastic being with you. We have so much more coming up. And in fact, the next one we'll be having Melinda and Jenna. They're going to be doing the Mini Winter Wonderland. They will be coming up next. A fantastic segment, so stay with us as they talk about the Mini Winter Wonderland, Melinda and Jenna. And again, thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. And again, check out our sales through us or through our dealers on the dealer network. And again, thank you very much.
As Grace Company grew, Jim knew he needed the right people to carry the mission forward. Among them was Cody, an eager new engineer determined to help design the finest quilting tools on the market.
15 years ago, it was a much smaller group. The entire office could fit around one conference table. People wear a lot of hats and people have to do a lot of jobs, but really what we were trying to do was to help build the business. I was hired as an engineer, but I was sometimes helping with shipping or taking tech support phone calls and just trying to fit in wherever we could to make it so we could continue to grow. That spark really started with Jim and his passion for innovation as he constantly was trying to make it so we could push the boundaries of what is possible, because there's always a better way, and he's always pushed that and always continued to help us see that. And so it's through Eddie's expertise and that spirit and that culture of innovation that Jim pushed for that helped us to make it possible.
Up to this point, Grace Company had focused solely on frames. In 2008, the team began developing their first mid-arm quilting machine and entered a new frontier.
It was a struggle for all of us. Nobody had done a quilting machine. We had to figure out everything essentially for what even a quilting machine did and how it worked, what a good stitch was, how a stitch worked, and the mechanics behind how a sewing machine worked and what formed a proper stitch. And we had to learn and research everything from needles to the hooks and bobbins and thread paths and thread types and fabric types, all to make it so we could make a sewing machine. What we were trying to do is make it so quilting and long arm quilting could be more accessible to hobbyists and people. We had 1,200 machines, I think, that were originally delivered to us. That's actually sat on the shelves for 2 years because they didn't work. And so then I had to figure out how to make them work. And so that's essentially what I was really doing initially when we were getting the machines done. I did help with some of the original stuff, but really my big role in it was to actually figure out how to take it from what we had to then make it so it could actually work.
6 years later, in 2014, Grace Company unveiled its first quilting machine. It was the result of tireless planning and craftsmanship.
Initially, it was a mix of anxiety, anticipation, excitement. To see it all come together was super incredibly rewarding. And then I realized, like, oh, we aren't just providing a tool for a customer, but we're creating this experience, and we really do need to make it so they can have the easiest possible experience they can, where they can just focus on their art and what they're trying to create and not have to worry about the tools.
Since then, Cody and his team have continued designing machines that serve quilters with different needs and styles. The goal has always been to give people the tools to unleash their creativity.
As technology has gotten better, it's really more just continued to push our mission really to empower people to focus on their creativity, to unleash their passions, to make it so quilting's more accessible to more people, and the innovation to continue to drive all of that. So as technology continues to advance, the more products we come out with, the more we're actually fulfilling that mission, because we're trying to do everything to make it so that quilting experience, from that very first piece, that first fabric piece you cut out, all the way through taking it off your quilting frame and getting it all put together. We're trying to make it so there is a solution to make it so that can be easier and you can just focus on getting your project done and focusing on your craft than having to worry about how to do it. I love the idea of it, just working towards that continuous innovation, the continuous improvement, and not just the company, not just in products, but also in myself, and I really love that.
Are y'all having fun at Winter Market yet? Because
I
know we are. You saw me earlier with True Cut, and now we're back with the Mini Quilter and the Little Rebel. But before we start, Melinda, we're celebrating 40 years of Grace. How long have you worked here?
You know, I've been here about 4.5 years.
Okay.
And it's gone by so fast.
I've been here a little over a year and a half, and I feel like I just got here yesterday. It's crazy.
But you have that feeling. You just got here yesterday, but yet you've been here forever, right?
I know. I'm an old pro now.
Awesome.
Okay, what's your favorite memory being here at Grace over the last 4.5 years?
Memories, memories, memories. I really, truly think my best memory is when our whole Grace family here in Utah did product training on the Little Rebel. And it was so fun. Everybody was so excited about the machine, the new product that we have, and, so many teams, so many individuals, really were key parts in the Little Rebel coming to be. So that's probably my favorite memory so far.
I love that. And I wasn't a part of that launch, but I wish I was. And I kind of feel like I was a part of it a little bit because I was here as we were developing the Mini Quilter and being able to test that and kind of see different versions of it until it was ready for market. And seeing our engineers come from like product development idea to getting it out on the market, I'm so impressed by just their ability to make a quality product.
Right. Quality is the key word.
Yes.
And I think one of the things I love most just being here at Grace Company is, there's so many products that are made for quilters that are truly inspired and made to help quilters quilt easier, faster, and more enjoyable.
So we went from the cutie frame to this. And Melinda, why don't you tell them a little bit why we developed the Mini Quilter?
Okay, so the Mini Quilter, it kind of gives you the best case scenario. I don't have a ton of room in my home. I've made room for what I have now, but I don't have a ton of room in my home. How much space do you have in your home?
My previous house, I had zero space, and I just moved to a new place where I have my long arm in an extra room now.
Yeah. So yes,
But my previous room, it was my living room, and I had no room whatsoever. It was the garage, and that's where I put my car and all the boxes.
Yeah. So I was in that same boat. Like, I made space for what I have now, but I had to be creative, and it took a lot to convince my husband, hey, can I put this here?
Yeah.
It's going to take up this much space. And he's like, are you kidding me? But I convinced him finally, you know, so, but the mini quilter, it's for those individuals. They don't have a ton of space in their homes. They want to be able to quilt easier and faster and enjoy it more. So that's where the mini quilter, you know, came into to help quilters.
Another reason I love the mini quilter is because not only does it save you space, but it's at a lower price point than the Cutie. And so it's a great entry level product where you can use your home sewing machine on it if it has a throat space anywhere from 8 to 13 inches. And you're able to quilt literally any size quilt on this guy just using your home sewing machine. And so if you don't have a lot of money or space, it's a good dip to see if you even like long arm quilting.
Yes, yes. You know, so for the footprint of the quilt, again, it's not going to take up very much space. If you have a sewing machine at home, you know, you're halfway there in a sense, having a long arm machine.
And if you've never seen something like this before, or even our Cutie Breeze frame, the way this works is by zone quilting. So you would quilt out this one area of your quilt first, and then move your fabric over to quilt the next area, and keep repeating that whole process until your whole quilt is finished.
And you know, I get it. I talk to customers on the phone. I go to shows. You know, I do dealer events, and I hear it all the time. You know, that people want an easier way to quilt, but at the same time, they've settled for the struggle, the aches and the pains of pushing their quilts through the machine. And they kind of, oh, I don't want to do that. It looks too hard. And it's like, this is too hard. Putting your quilt on a frame, so much easier.
No,
so
and
much
this
easier.
is so light. Even with the machine, I've been able to carry it and just put it where I need to, and then we're good.
Yes. So I love the products, the mini quilter with your domestic machine. Today we have it with the little Rebel. So again, one of my favorite machines. So I a perfect combination, especially for the holidays.
Let's go into some of the details and some of the features of the mini quilter, because there's so many little things. So first we got our adjustable handles. I can move my handles any which way I want to be comfortable for quilting. So if I want them all the way up here, I can go and quilt my project. If I want them down here, you can even sit down and quilt and move your handles a little bit lower.
Yes, yes. I love that flexibility as well.
Right?
Yes.
We got our little fabric management clamps that hold all of your fabric. So this right here is a small
crib size.
Maybe crib size quilt, yeah. And it's holding all of that fabric so nicely. And then we've got our nice little clamps.
Are we taking them all? Yes.
Yes, let's take them off. They come off super duper easily. They are not gonna break, but they bend just a little bit so they're able to hold your quilt tightly.
I will say, as you're taking your clamps on and off, start on one side, kind of get that on there, and then push the rest down. So
Oh,
much
that's
easier.
great advice.
And then when you're taking the clamps off, just kind of open one end,
and pull
and
them
then
off.
it just pops right off.
See, that's so
Super
easy.
simple.
Okay,
Yes.
let's see the bones of this guy.
They're pretty bones, right?
They are pretty
the white and
bones.
the mint green and the darker green. I love it.
We've got bungee clamps that make it so that you can hold your fabric on right here. It's height adjustable so that it can fit any of the machine you have at home, because we know that there's a variety of base heights for all sewing machines.
Now, I know some people, you know, are brand new to sewing, let alone quilting.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean base height? What do you mean by throat length?
Oh,
what
that's
do
a great
you
question.
mean by all of it?
Yeah. So right here, this portion is going to be your base height. So different brands of sewing machines have different base heights. So you want to be able to move this up and down to be able to fit your sewing machine. And we just recommend that there's at least a finger space of width under the top of your bar on the mini quilter.
Yes, yes.
And then for throat space, your throat space is all the way from your needle to the back of your machine. And that is how much quiltable area you have.
Yes, so again, quiltable area, but always remember you're going to lose.
I forgot about that.
Just maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches with the take-up rail. So yes, we have a 13-inch machine here with the little Rebel. Once we take into consideration, with the take-up rail, we really have about 11 inches, 10.5, 11 inches, which is still a lot more quilting space than 6 inches.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
I would say the bigger throat space, the better. And so if you can get a machine with a bigger throat space, like the little Rebel, it will make your quilting experience so much better.
It will. When I started, with Grace Company, the sewing machine I had at home, just a little brother machine, probably some sort of Walmart or, like store special that I've had forever, but it had a smaller throat. I quickly outgrew that throat and I wanted more. I was like, I need to be able to quilt a bigger area. So it's exactly what you said, Jenna. If you can get a bigger throat machine like the Rebel, you will be set.
If you are loving quilting and wanting to dive in even deeper, my biggest advice is to get the largest machine with the largest throat and get the largest frame that will fit your space for your budget. You want to go bigger, as big as you can without going over your budget, and that will make you so much happier in the long run.
Yeah. So, and I say that as well, talking to customers on the phone or at shows. Think of the space that you have at home. How much space can you take up? And then what your budget is. One other thing to kind of consider, what size quilts are you quilting, in addition. But I always recommend get the biggest that fits within those buckets.
I want to show everyone how we can load the mini quilter because it's so easy. So
yes,
I've got my quilt right here, and you can either quilt from the middle out or you can quilt from left to right and down, kind of like your read. So if I was to load this, if I wanted to quilt left to right, kind of like I'm going to read, we're going to load this baby in.
Super, super, super simple. And we've made our quilt sandwich beforehand.
Yes.
Backing, batting, and top. We want to load all 3 layers because we're going to clamp those layers to the frame itself. That's what's part of the fabric management of the mini quilter to help us quilt easier, faster, and more enjoyable.
So what I'm doing is I'm going to move my machine all the way back and all the way to the left that I can, and that tells me where I can start. So I'm going to move this up, perfect, and let's clamp it down. There we go. We have 2 longer clamps for the back, and then for the front, there are 2 shorter ones, as well as for the sides. Perfect. Okay, then with our little bungees, we can clip these guys on. And then for the front, I'm just gonna roll this up. And we have our little clips where we can clip all this.
Super, super
Perfect.
simple. So you can see, we have the top of our quilts. We'll quilt our row, but we still have fabric that hangs over the side. So you started describing it, quilting in zones. This will be our first zone of quilting.
Perfect. And then to move to our next zone, we would just take this all off again and then move it over and we're good.
Yeah.
We do that the entire quilt. It is as simple as that. And the more you do it, the faster you get at it. With this, I did a small throw size quilt. It was like 48 by 48-ish. And it took me an hour to quilt.
Yeah.
Which is so quick compared to push quilting. And then also my shoulders did not hurt as much by the end of it.
Right. And I hear both sides. People will say, oh, it's too much, it's too much to shift and move my fabric.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing when you're pushing your quilt? You're shifting and moving your fabric, but you're doing it all. The frame is holding the fabric for you.
The hardest part about push quilting for me is managing that fabric. Like trying to roll it all up to make sure it's going through my throat space. And I at home have a machine that is like 7 3/4, maybe 8-inch throat. And so push quilting on that one, there's no space. But on this, with that machine, I've quilted on this.
And I bet you've been able to be more creative, more elaborate with your stitch designs.
Yes. And what also, when you're going from something like this to like, let's say you start with the mini quilter and then later on in life you think, I want to upgrade. You have the muscle memory already built in from moving around like this, so that when you upgrade to a long arm, that switch is a lot easier because your muscle memory takes control and you're already kind of know what you're doing.
Exactly. Think of it, you got a new bike, or you got a new car, or I don't know, maybe your husband got a new boat and it has all these cool features. It's the same kind of principle. Just because it's new doesn't mean you don't know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to touch a little bit more on the Little Rebel and kind of why this is specifically a great machine for the mini quilter.
Yes.
Your domestic machine at home isn't really built to free motion quilt a lot.
Right.
How is the Little Rebel built for that?
Okay, so the Little Rebel out of the box, it's pretty much ready to go for sewing. It has the different sewing feet that come with the machine, but you also have your standard hopping foot. It's a quick, simple change. Take the screw out, swap out the feet, tighten the screw back up. Super, super simple. Now, I don't want to say that I talked badly about push quilting, but if if that's your jam, if you're a push quilter, you have that amazing 13-inch throat to push your quilt through. Or you can put the machine on a frame and, it's basically turning your machine into a little long arm.
And what I love about the Little Rebel too is a lot of people ask about stitch regulation, and they can't do that on their home sewing machine without getting an extra product, and that's why we have the Sure Stitch Elite
or without
for that
the
guy.
machine costing thousands of dollars.
Exactly. And with the Little Rebel, there's an optical encoder, or is it?
Yeah,
is it an
it's
encoder?
optical. Yeah, it's an encoder. I often describe it as like your computer mouse. When you flip it over, there's the little red light, and it's tracking the movement of your mouse.
Which is a stitch regulator. And so you can move this guy around and your stitches will be regulated and perfect and the exact spacing that you want.
Yes. Now, when you do set the machine up for quilting, there's a plate that will go over the needle plate. It's magnetic and it just, kind of locks into place. That activates the quilting mode on the machine. We know quilt mode is activated on the side of our machine. There's a Q button and there's a blue light. We can turn that on or off, but the key is having the plate over the needle plate. We can adjust our stitch length, our stitch speed when we're sewing. We have our needle up, needle down, our back stitch. There's even a start stop right on the head of the machine,
which is so nice.
And you don't see that start stop. You see it on other machines, but there are machines that cost a lot more than what the Little Rebel does.
And what I love about the Little Rebel too is it also comes with this little extender for your foot pedal. So if you attach it onto this frame or the Cutie frame or any of our other frames, you don't have to press the start stop button right here. You can just start and stop your quilting and change your stitches per inch all just from the handle rather than having to touch your machine.
Right. And you can install this on the right side or the left side, whatever, if you're right or left-handed, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
So that's very versatile. The machine comes with the foot pedal. So, you know, you can use the start-stop button on the machine, you can use the foot pedal, you can use the start-stop button. You know, it's amazing what our engineers thought of when they were designing this machine.
In the comments, if you have the Little Rebel, let us know what you love about it. And if you have the Mini Quilter, please tell us how much you love it in the comments.
Yes, so perfect combination, right in time for the holidays. Little Rebel machine, Mini Quilter frame. Finish your quilts easier, faster, and enjoy it.
And right now we got great deals on almost all of our products.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love this time of year. It's the quilting time of year. You know, from the sales team, it's almost like there's a switch that flips from not busy to, oh my gosh, we're swamped,
right?
Busy. You know, and it's amazing. It's so fun to be a part of.
I love seeing everybody get their new Grace products for Christmas and seeing the lights just, oh my gosh, this is all that I've always wanted. And seeing people comment on all of the Grace Facebook pages.
I'm setting this up and I can't wait to use it.
Yes.
And that's my favorite, I think.
Right? And then once they get it out of the box and they show their first project with it, I just love seeing quilters just seeing their creativity ignite. It brings me joy.
It inspires me too. You know, like I said, I've been with Grace Company 4.5 years. I, you know, wasn't a quilter before. I have some projects under my belt, and the more that I do it, the more that I love it. And you know, I couldn't imagine not quilting.
If you're interested in the Little Rebel and the Mini Quilter, head to graceframe.com. And thank you so much for joining us for Winter Market. We've had the best time, and we hope that y'all have also had a great time with us.
We've had the best, not us personally, but we've had the best 40 years.
We really have. Oh
40
my gosh.
years.
And I hope to be around for the next 40.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See y'all
Thanks,
later.
everybody.
Loose Ends Project is an organization that connects finishers of projects to people who have projects left behind by a loved one who was a crafter. We started in 2022 in August and became a nonprofit last year in May.
Both Jen and I have been asked by friends to finish projects that their moms had left behind. And we both wondered, what would this be like if we could encourage somehow strangers to do this for each other?
We have many projects where the intent of the original crafter might not be discernible, but we can make it something that the family will love.
Sometimes it requires some improvisation, like whether it's with quilts, whether it's with sweaters, where there's like part of it done and we don't know what was supposed to happen with the arms, or we don't know if it was a vest. And we have, with so many finishers, some are comfortable with that and some are not. And that's why we personally ask every single person. We give all the details, like how comfortable are you making this up, you know? And some people are fine with it. Rather than focusing on making sure everything is absolutely perfect and just so, which is sometimes works. We look more at what is the story of this garment or this blanket or this quilt or this tapestry or rug. What is the story? And that is also very beautiful.
And what we hope is that it's not just about the craft, it's about the connection. You've got people who are working together to come up with something that's meaningful for the family that's been left behind.
It is a tangible reminder of the person who has left. Every single inch of yarn has gone through their fingers as they've knitted it. Every single piece of fabric on that quilt has been pushed through a machine or held as they've sewn it. Their DNA is all over it, and it is a very real, tangible, and comforting object. And we've seen finishers report that they've spent 900 hours on a quilt for someone else. So it's really a range in terms of time and energy and effort and everything. And we realize that, especially with quilting, it can be a bigger ask of a volunteer to do.
Yeah.
Doing it for a stranger. There are just about 6,000 quilters who have signed up as volunteers with Loose Ends. And so of those 6,000 quilters who have signed up as volunteers, there are people who will say, I only ever want to do hand quilting. Some people say, I will only do machine quilting. I will only do quilt tops. I won't do the actual quilting. I like to do piecing. Some people are long armers and they will offer their long arming skills. So it is very specialized. Whenever we match a project, Jen and I are looking at the details. People's druthers, as Jen mentioned, but also really looking at the photographs that are taken of the projects that are left behind. We're kind of analyzing what's required. Sometimes we have to do some research. When it's something we don't necessarily feel like we're experts at, we will ask experts for their advice and guidance.
As we get more finishers and get more people in different places, our big goal when we're matching people is to make sure that they're local, because sending stuff in the mail is scary. Not just for the post office, but anytime you send something that precious off to other people, it can be angst producing. But the stories of the friendships are kind of amazing. Like, there's some people that I check in, I'll send a bulk email saying, hey, you need to check in with your project owner, let me know how you're doing. And they'll reply, hey, we're friends now. You don't need to call us anymore. Those kind of connections are nice, and they got to share that experience. If you want to do this with us, if you want to be a finisher for Loose Ends, you can go to www.looseends.org and you can sign up to be a finisher. Remember, there are 28,000 people, but when more people sign up, the better. We think of ourselves as like a Red Cross for crafting. I used to, in a different life, teach first aid, and I used to teach CPR, and I've taught probably 1,000 people how to do CPR, and I hope that none of them have ever had to use it, but I'm really happy with the fact that they're out there ready to use that skill if they need to. So you can sign up to be a finisher. You can go to our website and print out flyers that we have there in 20 languages. You can put up flyers in your neighborhood. The more people know about it, the more chance there is that a project will come your way. If you've got a project to submit, you can go to our website and submit that project. Quilters are amazing. People who do this as fun are really generous and great people.
We do this because we love people. We make things for people as an expression of love, and we want that to be finished.
As Grace Company grew from a single idea into a thriving business, family remained at the heart of its success. Jim was not building this journey alone. His sister Carla played a key role in shaping the tools and innovations that quilters would come to rely on. From early ideas to testing to teaching quilters how to use these tools, her hand has guided countless innovations.
I get to test our products and I get to help improve them for quilters.
One of the early products Carla is most proud of is Grace Company's first hoop frame. It was the first frame on the market that allowed quilters to complete an entire quilt one section at a time.
That was kind of what revolutionized quilting. It got a product into the hands of quilters that didn't have a lot of space. It was a space-saving product, and not only that, it allowed you to quilt larger size quilts without taking up a full room space. And that's what's so exciting about it. I remember doing it, and when Jim came up with the idea, he's always wanted to do a hoop frame, and he had it in his mind, but it took us several years, for it to come about. And then he designed, and it was just so cool to see how the market gravitated towards it. And also, it was a sit down, so you could sit down at the frame and quilt as well. And that was something totally different than was out there on the market. Retail customers, they loved it. okay? But it was hard to get shops and other companies to see the value of it. But once they did, they took that and tried to do their own. And so it was kind of fun to see that, you know, we make something and everybody else wants to copy it because they see the benefits and the advantages to it. It revolutionized, you know, the way we quilt.
With innovation at the forefront, Carla and the Grace engineering team continued creating solutions for the many challenges quilters face.
So as we were thinking about it, I thought, how can we get this style of hoop into the market for those who like to free motion quilt? And how can we make the strain and the stress off of their shoulders and neck as they're pushing it and everything? Quilters, they have a rough time because they are constantly using these muscles up here, and so it was a process.
As Grace Company continues to listen to the needs of quilters, the spirit of innovation grows stronger. Earlier this year, Grace Company introduced a new hoop accessory. The Hummingbird hoop is designed to make push quilting easier and will relieve some of that pain that often comes from it.
So it was a hoop style frame, and we went through several versions of it, and it's taken us a few years to get to where we are with the Hummingbird. And the Hummingbird is talking to quilters who really aren't interested in long arm quilting, so they can use their domestic machine and it pulls them in using our products. That's what excites me.
Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us for Winter Market 2025. I'm Allegra Erznosnik.
And I'm Angelique.
I am so excited to show you one of our newest products, the Hummingbird. Look how cute it is, so
It's so
bright and
cute.
colorful and light. It looks very light, Angelique.
Oh yeah, like no strain whatsoever.
So you won't be working out with that, is
You
what
will
I'm
not
hearing.
be working out
Okay.
with this, that's for sure.
Well, let's talk about what comes with the Hummingbird.
Alrighty.
How to use it and what it's best for.
And what is it?
And what is it?
Yeah.
Exactly. What is the Hummingbird?
So this is our Hummingbird hoop. It's for push quilting, and it's just going to help manage your fabric so that you don't have the strain associated with traditional push quilting.
So what I'm understanding is it's basically like an embroidery hoop with wheels on the bottom.
Basically, I think that's a
Okay.
good way to kind of describe it. It makes it easier. You don't have to have your hands close to the needle, so you're not going to hurt yourself, you know, when you accidentally run over, I don't know, your glove or, you know, your finger, your nail.
And I'm
Ow.
guessing you probably wouldn't need gloves with this because
No,
you wouldn't
because
need that
it's
grip anymore.
doing it. Yeah, it's holding it for you. We are still doing zones. So, you know, if you are familiar with like the mini quilt or something like that, we are still basically using that method of hooping and redoing zones to help manage that. But it just takes that stress off. Like I have like neck issues here, and it just like my shoulders will get really tight. And so when I'm trying to push quilt, if I have to do it a long time, I'm using muscles that don't want to be
It's
used.
so hard not to like hunch up and bring your shoulders up here.
Yeah. And this is just a really easy way to do that and move your way.
Well, I know you guys are all wondering, how do I set this up? So let's go ahead and show you. I do want to show you all this wonderful mat that you get. It is 51 inches by 27, sorry. And look
It's
at that.
so pretty.
It looks very nice and flexible. For those who can't tell, it's kind of like a giant desk mat that you would put your mouse on or your keyboard on. So very flexible, very easy to roll up and set up as well.
And it's just going to protect the surface that you're using. And it's just going to give it that little bit of friction that you need with the precision wheels that we have on here, just to kind of help you. And I'll just slide this down a little bit. But we don't want you to scratch up your table or anything, so you know it comes with it. It's not something you have to buy separately. It's all part of the package here.
Well, that's awesome, especially if you have a really nice table at home, or maybe a really nice cutting table even as well. Lay this on top. It'll protect your table and the hoop accessory as well.
Right. And you know, it's just, I think a lot of people, you know, it's like you can't always have your setup up all the time if you have like a small space or anything. And so I really imagine people at their dining room table. You know, it's like, okay, dinner's done, get the dishes off. I'm throwing my stuff back on here, and you don't want to scrape up your dining room table. So it just makes it really nice if you'll hold that for me.
So the rail that Angelique just removed, that is your take-up rail. This is the rail that's gonna go through the throat of our machine, and the one that we'll take on and off so we can get this hoop accessory on and off our machine as well.
Right, and you see that we have these for storage. So you just simply pull these really pretty little knobs here on the edge, and that gets it into the position so that when we put it around, the wheels will be down. And so we just simply put our take-up rail right back in here and give it a little twist. It's so easy, and I'm basically ready to go. You can adjust for the height of the bed of your machine. So we have these little, I just love all the buttons. I don't know why.
I know, me too. Yes, so we have these ones sticking out at the side. That was the one that Angelique used to twist the wheels down. And then these blue buttons here, those are the ones that you squeeze for the height adjustment.
Mm-hmm. And so you're just gonna get them all the same height around, and just a fingers, very, very similar to other hoop styles. You wanna be able to just get your fingers underneath there, and it's pretty much ready for us to put a quilt on
and
it.
Look how easy that was. That didn't even take us a minute to set up and get
Not
ready
at all,
to go.
yeah.
Now we have our empty hoop on there. Next, we're gonna put our project, which we have right here for you guys.
And let's talk a little bit about the clamps that come with it. So you'll notice that we have these little clamps, and they have all these markings on here, and that's just gonna help you see your zone a little bit better. Your markings, just like you just kind of visualize, okay, this is where my needle is based on where I put it on here. And they all come with these bungees. And so it's the new way that we do our bungees, so that they just simply roll your fabric and they just tuck right in there and stay for you. Of course, I don't have anything on here, but they're very, very easy. They're just Velcroed on, and there's one for basically every corner, one for the sides, two for the front and the back. And it's just gonna make it super easy. Look how easy that comes on and off.
Yes, super easy.
The last thing we wanted to do was make it hard on your hands, right?
Because what's the point of making push-through quilting easier if we're gonna make it just as hard as it originally was?
And so this is just, you can see a piece I've been kind of playing with a little bit. It'll allow us to kind of get into a new zone. So instead of giving, whoops, I'll just throw it on the ground. No. So we're just gonna lift our foot. What are some best choices for machines for this?
So best choice machines is really almost any machine. There is going to be some sizing restrictions that you do need to be aware of. For the throat space, you don't want anything smaller than 7 inches, and your feed dogs do need to be able to disengage. If your machine meets both of those requirements and it's no bigger than a 13-inch throat, then your machine can fit on here, and you can do push-through quilting without having that stress build up in your muscles, your lower back, anything like that.
So you see I've already got the front part on, and I'm just rolling up my excess here from my previous zone, and that's where I'm then going to kind of adjust these. They just simply slide. So if I need them a little bit smaller. Yeah, you got the one was already adjusted. No fairsies.
I know.
Right, and so that's just going to help hold this in place. Now, sometimes you can put them on the outside here. You can also even tuck them underneath if you don't have a lot of thick material and you want that little bit of extra.
And they are removable, so if you have one that you're not using, like over here on this side, you can go ahead and take them off as well.
So I'm doing the front one next, and you can see I'm just giving it a little bit of a turn just to engage that little bit of tension that I want on my piece here. I have this nice and basted, so I'm not too worried about needing to have, but you can use leaders with this, little excess material you could pin on here, but you can see I'm well basted, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh my gosh. Got a case of the Butterfingers over here. All right.
And we're just going to roll up the back end here.
And that was super easy too. That took Angelique not even a couple minutes to go ahead and get that wrapped up and good to go.
Yeah.
And so we've got it nice and organized. We don't have to worry about trying to manage a quilt roll kind of over our shoulder.
Like you said, real easy to take off, so it's not in the way.
Yes.
And I'll just tuck that with that over here. And now you can see I'm ready to get started quilting. And I'm going to kind of start over here, but this is a sit down thing.
It is a sit down, so we're going to pull out our chairs. There we go.
All right. And so just like any kind of quilting, it's definitely going to pull that bobbin up. Again, you're using a domestic machine. You want to make sure you drop that because that's going to mess up your tension if you don't.
That's where I mess up all the time for me.
I had to put a sign.
I should make a sign.
Are your feed dogs down? Is your foot down? Because I would sit there and I'm like, and then I would catch it in the side of my eye. So you'll see me sometimes on camera. I'm like doing this a couple of times because I'm like, did I do it? Did I do it?
You got to triple check just in case, right?
Right. And so I'm just going to go ahead and lock that first stitch in for me. I just like to have it there so, you know, I don't bump it since this is where I want to get started. And I do like to use the foot pedal. You know, I do have it talking about machine settings a little bit. You know, we are using the Little Rebel. The Little Rebel has that built-in optical sensor. So I've got this nice and close to that, and I have it on that quilt mode. I do like a tighter stitch. So I'm just kind of adjusting my stitches so I get nice close together stitches for those curves. They're just gonna look smoother when they're like that. And well, I gotta just push my foot down.
Yeah,
and then move this around.
It runs. Let's go.
It is. It's so easy to use.
It looks so easy too.
And it's wherever you're comfortable. You know, if you're more comfortable here, like notice my shoulders. They're down low. I'm not hunching up. That's where I get the, ow, I need to go to the chiropractor thing. You know, my shoulders are nice and relaxed. You know, because I mean, look at the difference in my posture. Like this would be if I was doing traditional push quilting. I would definitely be here. You can see my shoulders are popped up.
More tension in your
definitely,
hands
I can already,
fingers.
it's been bothering me. So I really kind of know
already.
But yeah, so it's like I feel the difference. My hands are so close, and I got this needle moving really, really fast when I'm doing this. And yeah, I have like gotten really close, or you know, gotten the snake bite, if you will.
Yes.
I can hold here. And I'm just meandering around a little bit, just kind of goofing. But I can hold here. One of the things I've kind of found that I really like is just holding here underneath the wheels.
Okay.
It's really however you want to hold it. If you want to stretch out here, you can stretch out here. Do some yoga poses.
Over, yeah.
Child's pose with this. Oh, that feels good. But you know, it's really depending on what I'm doing. I just, you know, I get to choose where my hands go for that control. And so it really is moving your way. One of the things I love about this is it's so portable.
It is portable. You saw it when we first held it up. Super small, all the wheels tucked in so you can lay it flat. So whether you're taking it to a guild, you're quilting with some friends, or maybe you're traveling and you don't want to miss out on quilting while you're on the go, you can take this with you as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a must-have for when I go on like retreats.
Yes.
Because we do a lot of bags, and sometimes I'm like, you know, I'm running around, I'm trying to get the food and, you know, everything packed in my car, and I haven't had time maybe to quilt, and I sure can't bring my big old frame with me.
Hey, and you could wear it as a sash if you need to.
Hula hoop. But you know, I can take this with me, and I can get all that quilting that I want to get on my pieces when I'm making bags and stuff, or if I'm doing a table runner and I want to, you know, because sometimes you have like these things like as you finish a project, you get to ring a bell and you get in for a drawing, and you know, it's like, well, I want to finish the project, I've got to get the quilting done too. And I love how portable it is and how easy it is. And when I'm done, stores away in a closet, stores under the bed, super, super easy.
We love it. We love easy to use, easy to understand, easy to learn, which is all things that we wish things would be sometimes. So we love that too. Now, I know some of you are wondering kind of specific questions about machine compatibility. We went over sizing and feed dogs, but I know people are gonna ask about maybe stitch regulation, stuff like that. So stitch regulation is not required.
No,
if you
not at
already
all.
do push through quilting with your current machine,
Then you are regulating.
then you're already doing it by yourself. And this is really an accessory to your machine. So if your machine can do it, it can work on here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already push quilting with what you have, all you're doing is adding this accessory to help manage your fabric and make it more comfortable.
Yes, and something I was thinking about earlier when you're talking about, you know, getting your needle, not your needle,
Your hands?
When you're talking about getting your hands too close to the needle, I was thinking about sometimes when you're doing intricate work like that and you're close, you lose some good grip on your quilt, especially if it's a bigger one. And I don't know if any of you have done this, but I have had it slip and I got a stitch all the way across.
Well, and if it's, you know, you've got a big quilt that you're working on, there's weight. You're dealing with this weight and it's pulling. I mean, it's one of the reasons I don't love binding all the time when I've got a big quilt, because I feel like, I literally say this all the time, I'm wrestling alligators.
You really are. You're not only are you trying to focus on the binding, but half of you is trying to keep that quilt
right.
up.
It's trying to slide. It always wants to go where you don't want it to go. And this just lifts that weight up off of the ground for you, off your lap, and just holds it in place so you don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yes, exactly. So amazing features to offer. It has effortless fabric management, keeps all of that weight organized. You don't have to worry about that as well as your quilting. Really good visibility.
Yes, and that's another thing too. You know, when you're pushing like this, you're very limited to where it is you know where you're seeing, right? You're kind of like focused in this area, and you're not always thinking about where am I going to go. With this, I can see all of this. I can think about, okay, where do I want to go next? I can move up here within my zone.
Yes, and not only that, but with the zone management that you were talking about up here, we have these dotted lines on all of our quilt clips so that you can kind of see where your end point is so you don't bottom out. So not only do you have a bigger picture to work with, but you also do have some boundary markers to let you know where the edges of your frame are going to be.
And let's talk a little bit about thread. So
Yes.
I decided, because, well, it is winter market, to use our Finesse Classic Winter Market Variegated.
Yes, and you know, with winter and holiday season coming up, I did pick some cute colors to show you guys.
Let's take a
from
look.
Our Finesse thread line. So
While
let
she's
me
grabbing
scoot on over
those,
here.
I just really love our new Finesse line. It is 100% polyester, so you get that strength of polyester, but the look and feel of cotton. So, you know, you don't always want shiny thread. Most polyesters tend to be shiny, but you don't always want that. So it's just really nice to have something that looks like cotton. But if you've ever used like 100% cotton before, oh my, the lint.
The lint. Yes.
Yes.
So maybe I picked out more than a few
Oh no,
colors.
you're dropping. We're losing
I
thread.
literally have an armful of thread to show you guys. So one
Hot
thing
chocolate. It's called
that
mocha, but it makes me think of hot
Okay,
chocolate.
I love browns. I'm a very big fan of like earthy neutral colors. So we did recently add a couple browns into our
Ooh,
line.
Brownie.
Brownie.
Who doesn't love chocolate?
Right? I love it. I think those colors are beautiful. They're some of my favorite. But I did pick out some more Christmassy themed colors here. So I've got some of our 3 kind of brightest reds that we have there.
So we've got Poppy, Ruby Red, and Merlot for that deeper red. These are pretty. I really, really like Poppy. This
Poppy is
just
one of my
screams
favorites.
Christmas to
Yes.
me.
Well,
I feel like maybe we misnamed this.
And pairing it with our Kelly green
Oh,
is
definitely.
Like truly
This is
some
pretty.
prime Christmas colors.
Oh yeah, this is definitely your stereotypical
Yes.
red and green colors that we love this time of year. You think of those berries on the holly and stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And I do love some of these other pictures, the emerald and then the
Yes.
moss. So
Oh
when
my
you want that
gosh.
a little bit more muted, I just did a really pretty Christmas quilt that is more in these colors. It's not quite the traditional, it's a little bit more muted. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely
Oh my gosh, I bet
gorgeous,
it's
this color.
amazing. Yes. And then, you know, winter, I had to pick out some wintry colors too. So I got this one called Glacier.
Glacier, so that cool, crisp sky color.
Yes. And then Candy Floss, which is
Candy
more of like a
Floss.
pastel,
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of snowy blue. I like a
Mhm.
lot.
Sometimes like when the sun, we're in Utah if you don't know, and sometimes like when the sun hits the snow, when we have the snow, and you'll just kind of get that glittery and you'll see some of those blues
Yes.
pop
Oh
up
my
there.
gosh.
Yeah, that is definitely a great color.
Yes, yeah, I've been recently made more grateful for our winters here. I have a friend who lives on the East Coast, and she complains about winter every year. And I go, oh my gosh, but winter's the best. It's so fun and fluffy. And she goes,
They don't get fluffy
She
snow.
doesn't get fluffy snow. She
They get
goes, no,
ice."
it's wet and it's cold and it's icy and it's
Yeah.
horrible. Now, look at this size of this bad boy over here. So we did launch with our new Finesse thread line, our 5,500 yard cones, which is about 5 times the size of this
Right.
one.
So these are good for just enough for one project. Maybe, and that includes your bobbin. You've got plenty with this, but these go-to colors, these neutrals that you tend to use a lot. Maybe you piece with it or something like that. Big O cone lasts you, it seems like forever before they run out.
Yes.
And
And
so
this
we've got
is
like
just-
marshmallows with our
Oh
hot
my gosh,
cocoa.
marshmallows and hot chocolate. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that what that reminds you of?
Yes. See, I knew I picked good holiday colors. And this is just a fraction of our thread line that we have as well. I think if I remember correctly, we have 60.
60 solids and 20 variegated
There
to
we
choose
go.
from. And
Yes.
for every one of our winter market, we have spring fling, all of our events, summer camp and fall festival, we have a specially designed color scheme for that in our variegated. So be sure to check those out. You can see how pretty winter market is. It is one of my favorites.
I love it. And I'm also, my favorite color is blue. So how can I not love a variegated blue?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
You get the cool tones, the darker to the light. It's just a really great winter market.
Well, I think that is time.
I do
for
think that
us.
is everything.
But I'm so glad that Angelique and I got to show you the Hummingbird, how to use it, and hopefully kind of get you guys interested in it as
Yeah.
well.
I could definitely imagine this wrapped up underneath the tree.
Yeah,
Hint,
maybe you
hint.
know someone who this would be a good gift for.
Well, thanks for joining us for Winter Market, and stick around for even more great information.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Susan Schmidt, and I'm one of the regional coordinators and vice president for Quilts Beyond Borders. We're a charity of 16 volunteers, no one is paid, and we provide quilts to children in the United States and overseas. We get help from quilters across the country and internationally as well, and people provide lap-sized quilts or tops. And then we have long armors that help us finish them. We get a variety of quilts from all different people with different skill levels. Our quilts go to the United States and 35 other countries. They go to children in orphanages, refugee camps, shelters, camps here in the United States, foster homes. They are definitely cherished possessions for the kids. Many of the children that we help have nothing. In orphanages, they share clothing, other kinds of belongings. They may have their own toothbrush. So the quilts that they get, each one will have their name on it, is theirs for the rest of their lives. And we're thankful that our quilts last many, many years. We have a variety of ways that people can help us. We're asked that all the time. We ask that people, if they want to make a quilt, they can do that. On our website is what we're looking for as far as fabric in the quilt, the type of quilting, the dimensions. They're smaller size. We don't take any bed-size quilts. We have done a lot of work with a humanitarian group to provide quilts to the Syrian refugees. They've been now in refugee camps for 12 years, and so we have sent thousands of quilts to them, and we are really grateful for that help. We in the United States, we're really grateful to help the foster program here in the U.S., and so a number of children we go through comfort cases, and a number of children, when they're going into foster care for the first time, get one of our quilts to take with them. And so that's been a real treat. And I know that we've heard a lot of feedback back that the kids have loved their quilts. It's been wonderful to have quilting friends, both within QBB, the coordinators themselves, and also just the number of friends I've made working and helping people bring quilts to QBB. Quilts have a history. For many of us, we had grandparents, parents who made quilts. We have hand-done quilts that are treasures and vintage. It's an art to make quilts. It is, for some people, making show quilts is a part of your quilting life. For a lot of us, it's a way to continue our quilting. Because what I think all quilters get to a point is you give quilts to your family, you give quilts to your friends, and they get to a point where they're like, okay, I've got enough quilts now. And yet your love for sewing, your love for quilting, you begin to think about how am I going to satisfy that love? And what can I do with my quilts? And so I think what we have found is giving them to children who, for many of us who are parents, if your child had a blanket that they loved and they drug around and they slept with every night, I think that is a piece of what that quilt represents for a child is security, comfort, warmth. I think children who have nothing all of a sudden realize there's someone in this world who has thought that about a child, and someone who cared enough that they would provide something for me to have. And, so many quilters I have met have a giving heart. And I think that they are looking for ways to share their gifts and talents. They have a love for making a quilt. When you sit down and you make a quilt, you begin to think about and wonder who that quilt is going to go to, what child may get this quilt. And I think there are people that are concerned for children, especially in this world right now. I think the quilters have a lot of pride in the work that they do and trying to make their quilts really special for whoever gets it. We would just have tops without a quilt if we didn't have long armors. And I get in my group, I get in over 800 tops a year. And so I would be lost without long armors. And so we are always looking for long armors. I think, we provide the top and the backing and the binding. And then you can decide on the pattern and the thread, and we'll ship stuff to you and wherever you may be. But that part of it is really important for us. If you're a long armor and you want to help, you can contact us through our email, quiltsbeyondborders@gmail.com. We have a lady that runs our email, and she will get in touch with you, find out where you're located, and then we'll put you in contact with either a coordinator that's close to you that will give you the tops and the backings to quilt, or we'll send them to you if there isn't somebody right close by. Then people go ahead and quilt them, and then we'll tell you the closest person to send it back to. I just want to thank everyone for watching. If you've got some free time and you'd like to do some quilting for us, we hope that you'll reach out. If you're willing to make a donation to us, we'd appreciate it. It would help us a great deal. We hope that you will be willing to share some of your time, your gifts, your talents with children here in the U.S. and abroad.
At the heart of Grace Company lies a simple promise to understand quilters and create products that make their experience better.
My journey at Grace has been interesting. I started as a project manager, and that was kind of the first dip into trying to understand who quilters are and kind of the mission of what that is, and that was the first year I was able to go to Houston, and that was a pretty cool glimpse at who we're actually making products for and what I was talking about all day.
Across 4 decades, that mission has inspired innovation in frames, the True Cut system, quilting machines, and thread. As quilting evolves, Grace Company is committed to evolving with it.
I think I see quilting evolving to something that probably does get a little bit more automation involved, because that helps. That, I think, relieves so much of the burden from the quilter, to be able to just have a process taken care of. I think it continues to get more convenient to do at home. I think that's the goal. When we talk about accessibility, I think it'll continue to come down in price. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, so it's hard to get it too low. But I think all the innovation will be around making it, you can focus on that emotion side of it. Here's this thoughtful quilt that I want to give. Here's the meaning behind it. Here's what it represents. Here's how it's going to lay out. Here's the fabric. Here's the colors. Here's the thread. Here's the pattern. And making it really easy to bring all that together versus just, you know, and hopefully it's even the piecing part of it is, I think it's a meaningful part for a lot of quilters, but it's probably the one that I would imagine really is, you know, it starts hurting the body when you're just over and over and over again. And, you know, even if it's not too intense, it just wears on you. And same if you're finishing quilts while sitting down. So I think really focusing on making the quilter be able to do more of what they love is truly like the intent. What that looks like in my mind is probably affordable automation stuff that can make you not take the art out of it. You know, I don't think you'd ever want to remove the beauty of what you're as a human putting into it. And I don't think automation does that, but making it easier for you to do that so it doesn't make you go, I really love quilting, but I don't know if I feel like I can do it today. To be like, I love this. I'm glad it's easy to do that and it's easier than ever to do it. And I think that's where I see it going.
Most recently, Grace Company has introduced Quilt Motion X for domestic machines. This new automation system brings advanced precision quilting into the homes of everyday quilters.
I've really enjoyed being involved in, you know, we evaluate what are we working on and why are we doing it. I think in terms of the future of quilting and how Quilt Motion X Foundations for Domestics is involved in it is being a really good gateway for getting people to understand the value of investing in investing in products that make it easier for you to quilt, and how you get to enjoy that hobby a little bit more, and how you get to grow and in that, and how these other tools make it available that you can spend more time doing what you love, you know, maybe something like that.
Welcome everyone to this wonderful segment. I'm Gianna Matthews.
And I'm Corey Burrows.
And we are so excited to talk to you about Quilt Motion X Foundations for domestic machines. Yes. Corey, we had so much fun playing with this earlier. I don't know about you, but I am just so excited to show everybody all the features that are available with this product.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a cool product. And if you are just a domestic sewer or quilter, this is definitely the setup for you.
Right. And if you've been thinking like, oh man, I wish I had automation. I wish it could do all the things that the quilting machines could do. We're just helping you get there, right? It's the next step in between quilting with a quilting machine versus your domestic, and now this new automation for it.
Yes.
So we're gonna show a lot of different steps. First, we're gonna show, you can see that we've got it behind us. We have no fabric because we're gonna go from the very beginning so you know exactly what's gonna happen with it. What's the first thing? You cannot put it on any other frame except
The Cutie Breeze.
The
It's
Cutie
the
Breeze.
only frame that it'll work on.
Yeah, and we're gonna show you why that is. But if you have the original Cutie and you bought the carriage upgrade, that doesn't help it. It's about the belts, and we'll show you in just a moment. But just so that we're clear, if you're thinking, oh, I have a Q-zone hoop, or I have it on an evolution hoop, those will not work. You have to have the Cutie Breeze to get the Quilt Motion Foundations X for all that stuff. So, okay, so let's talk first about the belts, right?
Yeah, so the belts, the Cutie Breeze is wider than what the original Cutie is, and these belts are made to work with the length of the Cutie Breeze. And so these belts are going to be too big if you try to put it on the original Cutie.
It would just be
so,
floppy.
Yeah, so it's not going to move around the way it's supposed to.
So I love this view right here so that you can see there's a big gray box on my side and there's a big gray box on Corey's side. And those boxes are what the belts are already attached to. These are the belts that go left and right, side to side for the machine to move back and forth on the bottom carriage. And on the top plate carriage, we've got the belts that go front and back. Now, one thing that's very important is that when you're deciding to use Quilt Motion, you've got to engage those belts. So there's a little lever to flip, and you make sure that those belts are attached.
Yep, and there's two of them. There's one for your left to right movement belts. It's right here. And then there's this one right here that's for your front and back belts. And so you want to make sure that both those are engaged, because if they're not engaged, it's not going to be able to move your machine for you.
Right. So again, the reason this works is because it talks to the frame, not to the machine. So you can use any machine that can sit on this carriage, this top plate carriage. We are showing one type of machine. You could use the little Rebel, you could use Juki's and Genomes and Brothers and Berninas and
I think that's one of the
Fox,
things
right?
that's so great about this product is you don't have to have a specific machine. Any domestic machine you have at home, as long as it's got a 9-inch throat, you can use it with this automation.
Yeah. So because the machine or the automation isn't talking to the machine, it's talking to the frame. We've got to make sure that those belts are engaged. Otherwise, it can't talk to the frame. It doesn't know what's happening. And we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. But so we are showing this not only without the fabric to just so you can see all the parts, but this is how you get started first thing. So when you open up the system, it's going to have you home it. And homing it means just bring it to the top left corner so the machine can be set where the frame is set. So here's our home. I'm going to say home the device and it's done. So this is going to tell my automation how big of an area I have to quilt. Now, Corey, you were saying 9 inches of throat space is a good minimum amount. What's the highest we could go to?
So you can go up to whatever can fit on the cutie. The cutie length itself can fit up to a 19-inch machine, but you also need to make sure that your machine is able to fit on the top plate here.
So as I'm coming along, it's keeping track of where we are because our belts are engaged. So now I can stop the recording and go to the done section. Now when I go into quilt, it's going to give me that section of design area for the amount of space for my machine so that the automation knows this is the safe area, right?
Yep.
Now we have played around on this with a couple of different machines. And so it was fun to see, oh, this machine has this much space, and this machine has this much space, and this machine has this much. So depending on what available area your machine has is what kind of design size you can do. So now that we have that set, we're gonna put the fabric on the machine and frame so that we can be all set, ready to go. We've got our fabric on now and we're ready to start quilting.
Yes.
Now you can see on the screen, there are a couple of different options here. Block, simple panto, or line. Now, if you've ever had channel locks on another frame or even the Cutie Breeze, you can set those channel locks and do a straight line and then release, move it, and do another line, right? This is the same thing. You can just have a line go for your whole quilting area, which is really awesome.
Yeah, some of those straight line designs are really cool.
Yeah, but with the block and the panto, you can do other designs. So how many designs come with QMX, Corey?
So when you get QMX, you get 10 block patterns, 10 pantograph patterns, and then you also get 10 credits for our new design store where you can go check out hundreds of different designs and pick whatever 10 you want.
Ooh, so if I want mix and match design of block and panto, or all panto, or all block, it doesn't matter, right?
Yep, whatever design they want.
Ooh, excellent. So that's super exciting that you get to try all those different ones. We're gonna show both the block and the panto so you get a chance to see all of them. So first we're gonna come to block and see the different things that it starts with, right? So it's gonna show me, hey, here's my block area, and I can click on my design library, which goes to the design store. Now you would sign up with your information and get your connection in. So you don't need extra software. It's just on our website for the design library and the design store. Let's pick, I'm gonna choose type here. I'm gonna choose block.
While she's picking a block, one thing that's really cool to know about this is even if you've purchased other design patterns for other automation programs or just any other quilting designs from any other creator, as long as they're an SVG file type, you can upload them to our website and then also put that on your QMX. So you're not just limited to whatever designs we have available. You can use designs from pretty much anybody.
That's pretty awesome because you're not limited to just what we have, but we're just gonna go over the basic part. So here we have our image and we've moved it to the next one. Now it's gonna have me set it in the safe area. I can move this around and just give my A block, right? It's gonna give me my section and I'm gonna make this pretty tiny. My B, my C, and my D is my last piece. Now you'll notice I made D kind of crooked on purpose so you can see it's okay. It's just gonna fit proportionally in that area. If you do want it all lined up, then you can make sure you're doing it that way.
The thing that's really cool about this too is if you noticed, as she was moving the machine, you can see you have your little cursor
yes, your
on the
little
screen.
crosshairs, yeah.
It's actually showing you exactly where your machine is at, so that way you can get it placed exactly where you want it to on your quilt.
We go to next, and then it's going to show me, hey, you can stretch it, you can rotate it, you can flip it. I'm okay with where we've got it, and I'm going to get started. Now, you'll see an orange dot. What happens is where it's going to start is green, where it stops is red, and when you put them on top of each other, where it starts and stops in the same place, it makes it orange. So when you think, oh no, I don't see a green or a red, that's because they're all at the same place. So I can move to start. It's going to ask me, do we want to make sure we're moving and the needle is up so I don't drag anything across my quilt, right?
That's the important part. You don't want to break any needles.
Now I'm going to pull up my bobbin, and as I move it away to pull up my bobbin thread, you might think, well, now you're not at the start anymore. It's true. I'm not at the start anymore. So what do? I just say move to start, and it'll go back again. So I make sure my needle is up, and I say okay, and it'll move me back to my start right where I had my bobbin pulled up. When I go to next, it's going to ask me again. And now I have start sew countdown. As soon as I push that, that's going to start my 3, 2, 1 sew. I'm going to have Corey press the start button. And we're going to start our countdown 3, 2, 1 sew. And there we go. Because we're using a push button, I don't have to manually do my foot pedal. I don't have to hold it with my hand or push it with my button. But I have to stay close enough so that we can say stop as soon as it gets to the end and release it. And here we go, we're close. It's gotten our little beep. So if we don't press the stop button, the machine will keep going.
And then you'll end up with a big mess. So this is definitely not something you want to walk away from. You want to make sure that you're following along with it, and as soon as it's done with its design, you want to press stop. Otherwise, yep, you end up with lots of bird nests.
Well, and that's because the machine isn't talking to automation. It's talking to the frame. And as far as it knows, the frame goes, you told me to stitch this, and I stitched it. So now we have our design all finished, and I can pull my bobbin up if I'd like to, get started again. I'm just gonna cut it here really quick for us. Now I wanna show, I'm gonna pick a new design. I can either pick a new design for a block, or I can pick a new design panto. So with the panto, it knows how long our design area is. And so it automatically gives me this gray line to suggest, hey, this is how much space you have. But I've already put something on, and we've moved down a little bit. So it's not gonna be exactly like it had. So I'm gonna come here to my design library. I'm gonna pick my continuous line. Let's do these fun hearts. Now it will automatically fill in how many hearts that it thinks I have space for. But again, just like before, I'm gonna place it where I have the ability. Now it's gonna say your design height, you could flip it. So let's get started. We're gonna start right here for my start. And I'm not gonna do a ton of hearts. I just want a few to get started. My green is start and red is stop. It's gonna move to the beginning. For time's sake, I'm not gonna pull my bobbin thread. I know. We're just gonna say start sew countdown, and Corey's gonna help me with the button. So there's my 3, 2, 1. And it's gonna sew out the hearts. So again, it's sewing, but the frame doesn't know that that's happening. It's moving regardless of whether I'm sewing or not. So you just have to make sure you're hitting that button or pushing that foot pedal or removing the foot pedal when you're gonna be done. So we're getting through beautiful, cute hearts here. And we're getting close to the end, and it does have a little tiny beep that reminds us we're getting close to the end. Now, if we were having a bobbin problem, or we ran out of bobbin, or we missed some stitches, you can come here to show repair tools, and it can help you get to that section to help repair it, which I think is so helpful.
It is incredibly helpful, especially if you're ran out of bobbin or whatever, you move it to wherever the closest stitch was that you ran out at, and you press that little closest stitch button, and it'll snap to wherever that stitch is, and you can just keep going.
Well, and it also has that plus or minus. So if you think you're like, well, I'm not sure if that's right where it ended, I can go back a little bit and go, oh yeah, that definitely is where it is. So it gives you that ability to go forward and back. So I want to show Corey what happens when we're not actually talking to the machine. And I'm just gonna actually pick one of these pantos, and I'm gonna make it pretty long so we can see what happens. So I'm gonna choose this new flower. It's gonna do this lovely daisy. So I'm gonna say my start. And because we're not gonna be sewing, I'm coming to the very beginning so we can see what that looks like. So if I was doing this whole big long section, right, and I say move to start, make sure your needle's up. And then I'm gonna say start the countdown. Now Corey's not gonna hit it for me because we're gonna show you your frame doesn't know that it's not being sewed because it doesn't talk to the machine.
Yep.
It only talks to the frame. So it's getting ready for my stitch countdown. There we go. We're not pressing sew, but the frame doesn't know that. The automation doesn't know that. So it's just gonna get started. It's sewing, it thinks, but it's just moving. Now, if you do that and you forget to hit it, you forget to do something, you can always come and press the pause and then go to the repair tools and fix back to where you're wanting to go.
Yeah.
So a reminder about some things. One, make sure that your tablet is connected to the to Wi-Fi, right?
Yes.
If it's not connected to Wi-Fi, it can't connect to the design store and it needs those designs. However, the designs aren't loaded onto the tablet. They live in the design library. So I've had some people say, well, what kind of space does the tablet have on it? How many designs am I able to do? That doesn't matter. You can put it on the design library and keep going, right?
Won't run out of storage on our website,
Right.
so you're good.
You can always access your library here and you can look at things. You can go to the store this way and see what other designs are happening. Now there are credits that you can handle, right? The 10 credits. Also have some free designs that we put on there occasionally, right?
Yep.
Do you know how many we have so far?
I think there's only like 5 right now, but like Jenna said, we're adding more to that.
Yeah, and there's new designs all the time being added. I just saw one for an otter. Adorable. I'm having so much fun seeing the new designs that keep getting created. Now, Corey, we reset the frame space without the clips. Why did we do that?
So the reason you want to take the clips off is because when you set your space, the Quilt Motion already knows to account for the space that these clips take up. And so if you do it with the clips on there, then you're going to lose a little additional space.
And you want as much space as you can, right?
Yes.
So how do we, if I've quilted to the end, right, I've done my whole pantograph and it's come to the end, how do I reset the machine to continue on?
So that's a great question. So what I like to do is once I end with my pantograph, you can see right there that little red dot, that's where my end point's gonna be. And so as soon as this is done quilting out my pantograph, I always leave the machine where it stops. I would
needle down.
Yep, I would put my needle down just like that. I would take off all my clips except for the 2 on this end.
Well, let's show that just to see what it looks like, right? So we're gonna leave those other clips on. We're gonna take this back one off.
And then you're just gonna come to this side and very slowly and carefully, you're just gonna pull, I'm pulling the whole table. You're just gonna pull your fabric over and that'll pull the machine with it. And that way, once you're over here, you can see I've got the rest of my fabric over here. You can re-put all these clips on. And then your machine is already where it needs to be to keep the pattern going.
That way your line can get all straight. You're not trying to decide, oh, was it slightly this way, do some bunch of measurements or anything like that.
Yeah, and so then when you need to replace it, you just come in here and I would just set that point right there as my starting point. I would bring my needle back up, move to the end here, and I can come all the way to the end of my fabric and press my end point. And there we go. Now I'm able to complete the pantograph across my entire quilt.
That's fantastic. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions still. We've answered most of them. If you have any questions, give us a call or come to our website, give us a chat, email us, ask questions on social media.
Yep.
But we're here to help you, and we're so excited to bring this new product to you. Again, I'm Jana, and
I'm Corey.
And we're from the sales and marketing team, and we're having so much fun with QMX Foundations for domestics.
I don't know if I do great things for people. I think I do really small things for people and they just get really excited. Hearing somebody out about what's going on, whether there's a problem or whether there's something that they're really excited about doing, and then being able to support that. A lot of the time our products can like help solve that problem that they're running into with their project, and I think I just like solving problems.
I've always loved quilting, but I haven't always enjoyed the efforts of domestic machine wrestling. When I completed my first quilt on the Cutie frame, I actually felt as though shackles had been cut from my wrists. When I found the Grace Cutie frame in 2021, I'd already been quilting for over 50 years. My quilting was governed at the time by uncomfortable efforts required in space. The Cutie setup had removed the frustrations that slowed me down for half a century and opened exciting paths for me to follow.
When I first started quilting, I fell immediately in love and I was all in. And of course, I could not afford a long arm machine at the time. I ended up finding a Grace frame and I put a Juki TL2000 on the Grace frame. And I did a lot of work with that little household machine with an 8-inch throat.
I've been quilting for most of my life. I started when I was very small. I needed an outlet for stress relief and a way to be creative. It's just a way of expressing myself and showing interest in other people and creating something that they can wrap up in and keep warm in or have a picnic on.
My quilting story began in 2012. I'd been diagnosed with cancer and I was going to go through treatments up at the cancer center. Up there they had all these beautiful quilts all over the walls. And there was one particular one that I just fell in love with. It was called The Lion by Violet Crafts. I would stare at it for hours. So I decided when I came out the other side of my cancer, I was going to learn how to quilt. After I was back on my feet, had some more energy, my sister-in-law came over and gave me some lessons and I made my first quilt. The finished results were beautiful and I was hooked.
For me, it's all about the customer. The joy I get from working here is that I can bring a good experience to everybody here at Grace, and if everything's running in an orderly fashion, then they all have a good experience, and that translates to our customers.
So I was able to get into long arming, mid-arming at the time, but I was able to get into it at an affordable cost, and it really introduced me to the art, and I love it, and I would not have it any other way.
When I was looking at sewing machines, I chose Grace because it had a really good reputation. They were never too busy to answer questions. They were always very kind and helpful. If I had any question anytime at all, they were really wonderful about it. Other companies were not that way. It was just about selling the machine, and I didn't feel that with Grace. I felt supported. I felt like they were really invested in me having a good experience.
So I decided to check into purchasing my own long arm, and I went to our local store here in Portland, and they had the Unique 14 Plus by the Grace Company, and I fell in love with that machine. Real smooth, worked just beautifully, and I knew that that was what I wanted to have.
With product testing, we're doing what we can to make the products as good as possible. It just makes the whole experience of what the products that they're using, it makes the whole experience better so that they can really enjoy what they're doing. I think the thing that I'm the most passionate about is all the different things that I'm learning. I'm learning things that I didn't know before it, and I've been sewing for a long time, and I've been quilting for a long time. I'm learning every day. It keeps me going. It drives me to do more. It drives me to work harder.
I learned a lot by watching videos and following the Grace Company and their festivals and their tutorials.
The ruler and rotary cutting system, I really love them. I feel like I can cut with great accuracy and not having the rulers slip on me. I also love the finesse thread. It's so beautiful. There's so many beautiful colors, and I really love using the products, and so I really just thank the Grace Company for all of the wonderful things that they make.
The experience I've had so far using this new machine has been wonderful. It's so much easier to use than anything I've been on before, and it really supports the novice user and someone who's not really really experience, but it makes it a very pleasant, fun experience to have.
Fast forward 10 years and my cancer is back again, and I'm finding that standing at my frame with the long arm, it's 12 foot long, and without automation, it's creating some challenges for me with my health and the condition that I'm in. I've decided to transition to a new setup, the Little Rebel, on a Cutie Breeze frame, and also the automation, which is QCT6. That's going to help create some new possibilities and let me still enjoy the quilting world.
I really do like hearing out the customers and like just listening to what's going on that made this project important to them. Like I get a lot of, oh, I'm doing these quilts for charity, or I'm doing this project for my son or my grandchildren, and they're just like so excited about it. Then I get to hear all about their project and hopefully help them find what they were looking for in calling me.
Some of the favorite quilts that I've made, I took my grandfather's ties after he passed away, and I made quilts out of the ties. I made one for my dad and one for each of my siblings, and so they each have some of Grandpa's ties that he wore when he was here with us.
A year after the treatment started, unfortunately I lost my husband of 33 years. I'm still going through treatments when this happened, and so quilting truly saved me. It was a distraction, gave me something to do to work through my grief. I had saved a lot of my husband's clothing and put it in a bucket because I knew someday I was going to use those for a quilt. And it took 7 years, and I made 2 quilts, one for each of my sons. I don't know about all cancer people, but the ones I talk to agree that having a purpose, having something to do and goals each day is huge psychologically in your road to recovery. And I really was pretty much not quilting anymore because I just couldn't utilize my roll and frame anymore. And I'm so grateful to the Grace Company. What a gift, what a precious, precious gift. I don't have the words to express my gratitude and how happy, filled with joy I am right now.
Thank you for making her happy.
Yeah, that was the sun.
For 40 years, quilters like you have kept us going. Thank you for being part of our story. We look to the future of the Grace Company and the art of quilting itself with hope, gratitude, and so much anticipation for what's ahead.
Hey everyone,
Hi
welcome
again.
to our closing live. I'm Justice Daniels.
I'm Natalie Chipping. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you back. It's been such a spectacular day of just
Yes.
events and giving and a lot of amazing things going on. We want to hear from you in the comments, please. What was your favorite segment? I know I have some, but Natalie, why don't you share yours?
Ooh, well, I got to work on the little featurettes, just like the one that we just finished watching, and that was really, really cool to be able to learn so much about the history of Grace and kind of the people that we've helped and all of the cool things that quilters do. So that was super, super cool.
It looks like all of that was super intricate. How much research did y'all have to do? Like, how did you go about doing that? Maybe give a little insight to the audience here.
Well, I had an excellent team helping me. So our graphic designer actually did a lot of the research for our first segment, the history of quilting. So, and then I was able to work with Jenna to find some of those photos and stuff like that, some of the footage that we popped up during that. It was a lot of time watching all of the interviews that all of you guys did and making sure that I found, you know, the best pieces of those to bring some perspective on all of that stuff to everybody. So, yeah.
That's very cool. And we've got a lot of people talking about all the different varieties, a lot of people loving the stories, a lot of people loving our product demos like the Quilt Motion X, the QCT ones, and the history of quilting. I personally have to say, I think that was one of the coolest things to watch. I mean, I love seeing the history, but also just understanding like where quilting bees originated and that people would like hand sew a quilt in a day apparently. Like that was just like that is insane to me that
I
people can do
know.
that, but that's so impressive, and it's such great roots to have.
It was a really fun one to work on and to
Yeah.
learn about the art form as a whole.
Brenda, she's saying the last segment was my favorite. I've been a loyal customer for several years now, and seeing all those familiar faces was so nice. I also love the history segments, and of course, the charities. You know, I love that well-roundedness that Grace Company offers, and that we get to be a part of and showing that.
Yeah, for sure. A little something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that everyone's, been following along for a while now. I'm noticing some people who've been in there for, I think the whole 4 hours. It looks like we have had quite a few people in here for the whole time. So very thankful for that. And very thankful for the event in general. It's a good sales event, and maybe you could recap why we kind of done Winter Market and why it's been in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that quilting is a big and varied hobby, and there's lots of different ways to do it, lots of different kinds of quilting, and so we really try to focus on bringing ease and accessibility to every kind of quilter. And some of our other events are based on types of quilting. I think Fall Festival is free motion specifically. So we just wanted to put together Winter Market to invite everybody, no matter what kind of quilter you are, here to learn about the innovation that we're trying to participate in. Innovation is a huge value for us at Grace Company. So just bringing you guys in to kind of show you more of what we're doing, and it's all about learning, and it's also kind of about getting the best savings of the entire year, because that's important.
That is definitely a huge thing, right? With the
Yeah.
savings and having things like free shipping and local dealer support, those are great. But I was sitting there as I was working on other stuff, listening to this in the background, and I was just super thankful and sitting there trying to think about, like, what do I want to share with all you quilters? Because in the bottom of my heart, one thing that I kept thinking, and we would talk about as a team, is just how much we want to relate to the story you all offer. As you're watching stories from charity segments to people giving quilts to, just learning about products, I see perseverance, I see innovation, I see heart. And it was cool to me. This was the first time I'd heard our owner, kind of Jim, share his story personally, get to hear some of that. But also his desire to have the inclusion of all of us, his employees. There's a ton of people behind the scenes you didn't get to see. We only have a limited number of time. But it was so cool to me to see the parallels of quilting in that. Quilting's all about persevering through a project and moving on and finding new ways to innovate on your designs or your processes. And I just truly love that, and I think it's such an admirable part of what it is.
I think that Jim also really embodies the community aspect of quilting. That was cool to learn about in the History of Quilting video, was just how much of it truly is teamwork, getting together with others, and it really, Grace Company could not have been here without the teamwork and collaboration and community that quilting originally was fostered by.
So as we move forward into 2026, we just ask you to join us in continuing the celebration of 40 years with Grace, and the fact that we're here for you, the quilters, and that you all motivate us. You engaging with us helps us see those next innovations, and it's amazing to get the feedback, to see the products that you love, but also the content that you love and the ways that you want to engage with us, because it
we
really
listen.
makes us.
We hear you, for sure.
We love listening about that. And along those lines, while we're talking about listening, while we're talking about getting good deals and what that is, I want to kind of remind you about, as you're engaging and buying and being with us online, to watch out for scammers. There's lots of people in the comments sometimes that'll make it look a lot like Grace Company's trying to give you something, or trying to offer you a really amazing deal, or give you something that maybe isn't fully like from the heart, realistic of what it is. It looks too good, right? So watch out for that. If that does happen, make sure that you're calling Grace Company or messaging us directly. Don't respond to that person. But also, while you're on social media,
big, huge reminder, please follow us on social media, especially if you love quilting updates, quilting tips, quilting project ideas, all kinds of stuff. If you want to join the community of quilters that we have here at Grace, we are Grace Company Quilting, or the Grace Company, or apparently Quilting Grace on every platform. So go follow us there. We have lots of different content coming out every single day. I work on making sure that I'm collaborating with the Quilters, the awesome Quilters here in the office, to bring you good tips and tricks, to bring you good questions of the week, to kind of get your thought processes going, to bring you project ideas. We're doing Quilter feature now, which is something I'm really excited about, where if you submit quilts to us, we feature them on Sundays on our social media, so that is super fun as well. We also have our YouTube channel. On our YouTube channel, we are releasing 2 videos every week. These are long videos. You get to just sit with us for 10, 20 minutes and just learn and just see cute projects and hang out with a quilter just like you. It's awesome. So if that's something that you want to be a part of as well, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the bell. If you hit the bell, you'll get a notification every single time we put up a video, so you won't miss any. Winter Market is going to be there under the Lives tab on YouTube to rewatch as soon as it's over. If you want to revisit any of the stuff you've seen today, or if you want to share anything that you've seen today with people that you know and love. So
yeah, and you want to make sure you're following along, because we do have awesome downloadables that go along with a lot of those. A lot of good links in there. You know, we'll do project content or these little type of things that you can follow along with.
Yeah, I will say when I'm putting up the videos, it's rare that I'm not putting a link to a pattern. I'm always like, okay, what pattern goes with this video? Because there usually is one. So
yeah, no, and it's super cool to see. And so if, in addition to that, what we also do is called Quilters Playground. And that's an online place for you to go join in a Zoom class where you get live interaction with our education team and Carla as they talk about our products and get help to, you know, usually there's an agenda, but you can come and ask questions about that specific thing. So you don't have to just have our products. Definitely you'll get a lot of help and support if you do. But even if you're just wanting to learn a little bit more before you buy or plan out your next steps, and especially with QMX FD right now being a big talking point, there is upcoming Quilter Playgrounds that will go over that. It'll help you get familiar with what that is, how to use it, and access some of those great features.
And there are a few of them up on the YouTube channel already. So if you are interested in QMX FD, or if you have it already and you're looking for help with getting it set up and starting to use it, that is on there already. So please go check it out.
And outside of that, I just wanted to highlight a couple things we didn't talk about earlier, but definitely are really big for us, is we have new innovations on our design store. So if you go to graceframe.com, we have a design store with tons of designs that are already pre-made, and we have cool tools like our picture stitcher that actually allows you to upload a photo of some memory or whatever you would like to make, and it turns it into a quilting design, specifically for automated quilting. So it's
very
really cool.
fun. I got to stitch a little picture of my dog during Fall Festival, and I loved it. It was the best. So highly recommend.
Super cool. And it merges well, you know, the design store merges well with our QMX FD. And as you may or may not know, that's actually our big giveaway today, that I want to talk about that product a little bit with y'all, the QMX FD and the Cutie, just so you have a little bit of understanding of what that really does for you, right? So especially if you're not a long armor yet, or you aspire to be, and you're using a domestic machine, and you want to make sure that you're getting really good stitch designs and being able to do that at a really accessible price point. It's valued at $3,000. There's a really big special through Grace Company right now that you can get at $14.99 either online with us or at a dealer. So it's a super amazing price point for the QMX by itself if you have the Cutie Breeze. If you need the whole bundle, it's $2,000. So there's a big discount either way. Sorry for the confusion there, but you know, if you don't have the Cutie, you will need that to work with it, and that's the only compatible frame. But it integrates seamlessly with that design store I was talking about, right? Like with currently you have to go on, find a design, and upload it to the hardware itself. This, you just upload it to graceframe.com, or you buy it from graceframe.com, and you will see it pop up as an actual design you can just click on in your software, and you're good to go from there.
Yeah, Picture Stitcher does the same thing, where you can just go through, create your picture, create your design, and then it's just accessible in QMX. It's super
pretty
nice.
cool. The tricky caveat, just as a quick tip, pro tip on Picture Stitcher, QMX will only do a single path design. So you want to make sure that if you're doing your Picture Stitcher and saving that you make sure you get it down to a single path, because that is what will work in QMX FD.
Yes.
Yeah. So without further ado, maybe we should just head into this giveaway
and
announce our happy winner. So if we can get our drum roll going, if you join us all, who's going to win? Cindy. Congratulations on winning QMX FD and the Cutie. That is an awesome product.
That is such an exciting setup to have, because I know that long arming as a whole, a whole other side of quilting, and it can be a lot to kind of get into and start, and this is just the perfect gateway into getting into that.
Yeah,
so.
and just, you know, as you all sign off and as we sign off, we just want to give a reminder, check out those deals, do your holiday shopping, go engage in the community, let everyone know you're a proud Grace Company quilter, and we're proud of all of our quilters, and we love having you around. So thank you for joining us with us all day.
Yeah, we are so grateful for you and the part that you've played in these 4 years of Grace. We're so excited for what is in store in Grace's future.
Yeah, have happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.